And we are live, and let the audience grow.
I might have to mute so you can't hear me crunching.
What is up, audience?
Hey, hey. Hi, Miss Nikki.
Hi.
Hey, Alex, have you heard anything more from that matter you and me talked about last week?
No, I haven't. I'll message you about that later.
I was gonna say, yeah, do it private.
But also a little shout out to Sandy, Dumpster Dad, Paranormal Voice, Ellie, and Sandy Wolf in the chat. Some of my peeps.
Dude, I'm digging your bookshelf you got behind you, dude.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is some of my, I got some books, some of my collection of creepy dolls and artifacts.
Nice. Oh. Yeah, I got more wires right now hooked up to me than AT&T with that heart monitor they got me on.
Oh man, yeah. How are you doing?
Well, I went and I had that echocardiogram on Friday, and they hooked the heart monitor up to me, and I'm stuck to this thing for another 28 days, which is a pain in the butt. And I got in there and I asked the lady, I said, I got one question. Can I deer hunt with this thing on? And because where they put one of the cords, that's right up on my right pectoral where I put my gun whenever I go to shoot, because I shoot right-handed.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, yeah. And I said, okay, but I'm going to have to move that spark plug you got hooked up to my chest down, because if not, I'm going to drill that thing into my chest with these slugs I shoot.
Man.
Now, I tell you, I watched your video that was uploaded. Daniel sent it to me early this morning. I got to see it around noon today, and I'll tell you, dude, wow.
Yeah, what do you think about that? I know we're gonna be
Bigfoot City.
Yeah, it's a real interesting area, and I'm excited to tell you guys all about it because
Yeah, bear with me, guys. Fred and Connie are trying to call directly into Hangouts, and it's not working that way. If I answer the call, they're not. It's not going to bring them in here because I see it popping up on my tablet. So,
Zach, did you get in through the email link?
No, Daniel's got to invite me every time. I never get an email link. He says he sends them, but for some reason I don't ever get them. And whenever he sends me the link to the chat, to the call through Messenger, it just sends me right to Google Play Store, and it shows me where I can either uninstall or open the app.
Yeah, I've noticed some issues with Hangouts with that too.
all right, hold on. Let me try something here.
Did you guys get drowned anymore with that rain that come through?
We had some this past week, but
it rained every day for this last week, I tell you.
Yeah, it was. I was glad yesterday finally it was clear because I've been waiting to get out in the woods, and because I had a sinus infection for like almost 2 weeks because I was traveling and had that. I was dealing
Man,
with.
that's no fun.
But finally feeling better. So.
Well, I'll tell you what. We're waiting on Fred and Fred to get through here. I sent them the link through both him and Connie's page. Leia even messaged me to send her the link so she can try to get it to them. So, if they are listening, do understand if you're trying to call directly through Hangouts, it will not connect you to get in here. So,
yeah.
And you got to go through the link that I invite you, or give me your email. There's only 2 ways of getting into the YouTube live video podcast show. And I'll even try to see if I could. Here, Freddie. No. Oh, wait, I forget Fred's. Let me try to see if I can get Fred's email. Wait a minute, we got Layla in here.
Hi, Miss Lale.
I'm here.
Hi, Leo.
Hi, guys. Hi, Nikki.
Well, yeah, Layla, I'm trying to get Fred and Connie on it. Well, Fred, I sent them the link to both Connie's page too, and I don't know what's going on.
They've called me 3 or 5 times, and I talked to them a minute, but then I got that they were trying to get with you for a show, but I guess they called me. I don't know all about my phone, but it was a video, whatever. And then they went off talking and left me hanging there. So I
They,
hung up and just messaged you and said, if you want me, that's great. I'll come on, but you don't have to.
Yeah, Fred just messaged me. He said they won't let him on Google. Tell somebody to send me the link. I'm sending them directly, so I don't know what difference that would make.
yeah, it should have to come from you.
I mean, anyone, yeah, you could copy and paste it. I mean, I've done it for others before, but
I can try it.
There's someone.
wait, who do we got? Who's jumping in there? I can't see who else.
Sam
Oh, that's
Deloach.
Sam. That's
Hi,
Sam Deloach.
Sam.
Hey, Sam.
Sam's always in the dark. It's either him or Zach's in the dark.
Bite me.
It's better outside like this.
Yeah.
You know.
Let's see.
Everybody doing good?
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Good.
Surviving.
To be about.
Yeah.
God damn it! I keep getting
So who all's on here tonight, Mr. Benoit?
Well, we have Lael Pelt,
Oh, hey, Lil.
Nikki
Hi.
Cologne, Zach Sterick,
What's
aka
up?
Bloom,
What's
and
up, Blimp?
we have
Zach?
a special guest,
What's
Mr.
up?
Alex Bob, also known as Bigfoot Bob.
What's up, man?
Bigfoot Bob. Nice to meet you, sir.
So,
Nice to meet you.
Fred is supposed to be joining us. He's working on trying to get in here. They're having technical difficulties. So
Okay, I sent. I guess I sent the link to Connie. She it was just easier to send it to her. I don't know if it'll work or not, but
yeah.
I sent it.
Yeah, well, all right. We'll see what happens.
I sent it to Connie. Fred unfriended me a long time ago,
Oh.
and
You disagreed with him.
I made the comment the other night. He said something about look on my page or something anyway, and I said, but Fred, we're not friends on Facebook.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, when we were Shane. Yeah.
I could still message and stuff, and I'll talk to him, but I get Connie's stuff is all of his stuff anyway, and I look at it sometimes because I think the world of Connie. I really do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So anyway, I sent it. We'll see.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. First of all, I want to thank Alex for agreeing to join us tonight. I really appreciate you coming on, Alex.
Oh, no problem, man.
So
Thanks.
now, absolutely. Now we all know you as Alex Bob, aka Bigfoot Bob. Now, Alex Bob is your correct name, right?
My real last name is Bobulinski. Facebook won't let me change it though. For some, they asked for an ID, and my ID is like damaged right now. So I just stuck. Everyone calls me like A Bob or Alex Bob or Alex, and
kind of like the New York player A Rod. Last name's Rodriguez. But, it's easy to say A Rod. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, we got A Bob with us.
Yeah, in the house.
Hey, Bob.
Can we call you Silent Bob? Nah, just
Sure.
All right. Well, yeah. Again, it's great to have you on here, man. A few of us, we all got to listen to both a couple of your videos, your recent ones, especially today's upload, and listen to the one with your audio, which we'll get to that in a little while.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear what everyone thinks because I'm open-minded to hear everyone's opinions and excited.
Are you going to play that, Daniel, on here for everybody on?
I can try to play the audio. I have to go get
great.
my phone. I'll play that through my phone. The first one I want to do is for those who did not get to see or have not viewed, I'm gonna go ahead. I want to pull up the one that has the eye shine on it.
Yeah.
If you bear with me here.
Yeah, and that was filmed last night.
Yeah, the eye shine. I'm trying to remember what
state do you live in?
Alabama. In near Birmingham, Alabama.
Okay.
And that's what's so interesting about this spot to me. I originally found this spot because there's like an old cemetery there, and I also do paranormal investigations. So like I started out going to the cemetery. I had some pretty incredible experiences there as well. But then one day I just had this feeling I needed to go back in the woods behind that cemetery and explore the area more. And that's when I started noticing some weird things. And then the more I go, the more it just keeps getting weirder.
I'll tell you, I could be playing the audio with this one here, but this is the one that has the, I know there was a tree knock that we heard in this one here, for those who watched this earlier.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, it sounded like a knock to me. Someone had said maybe it was a gunshot, but to me it sounded like a knock with like a pretty thick branch or something. And it was when I was standing under that, just looking at something interesting with the trees, and then all of a sudden I heard it, and it kind of made me jump because I wasn't expecting that.
Right.
I think I saw something earlier today, and I didn't watch it, look at it. I was kind of, anyway, that said, I shine tree knock.
Yeah, it was probably my video.
Could have been, but I'm sorry I didn't watch it. But
oh, it's fine.
I try to come back to them later in the day.
I understand.
Now I can't remember exactly the time frame of the eye shine, but I think it's somewhere within the middle to the middle, beginning to middle.
5 minutes in.
Yeah, right around 5 minutes, and it was.
I think it was 5 minutes 18 seconds.
And it was right after I had I started leaving tobacco offerings at like whenever I see like a native trail tree, and I'm not sure if the one I left it at was one that was kind of split in the middle and went up. And so I was like, I'm just going to leave one here. And I left that there and I kept walking. And I didn't see it real time until I was editing at home. And then I came across it and I was like, what is it? At first I thought it was taillights. But the more I looked at it, I was like, no. And I'm facing a way where there was no road for a couple miles. So,
so how high off the ground is this eye shine?
It's hard to say. I'm going to try to go back tomorrow and try to find, because there's like this little X I was looking at, and I'm going to try to go find that again and then see if I can figure out. To me,
wait a minute. It just showed it. Now I know you're going to do a slow mo. Yeah, I just saw a glimpse of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know at this point here, I think after seeing it, you do a slow mo of it. So here it is. Watch this, guys. All right. There it is right there. There it is again.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
That's red too.
Okay,
Look at the distance of between those eyes, Nikki.
That is way.
That's close.
That's
big.
that's pretty far apart.
No,
They look forward looking. They don't look like on the side. You know, like a coyote would have kind of on the side. Or
Yeah, you're right.
Now I wonder if that's the movement of the camera there, Daniel, where you pick up two sets briefly there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Now, Bob, you had mentioned at one point it looks like they come close together, and you were asking what is it that makes them look like they get so close together. I believe. I mean, I believe that's where it's turning its head,
Turning.
and
Yeah,
you're catching the angle of it. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Man,
turning.
I can't even believe it because like, and right after that in the video, I got chills all over my arm, and I didn't know why at the time, but afterward I was like, dang, maybe it's because I was so close to that thing, and somehow my instincts were picking up on it or something, because I literally felt like I got chills all over, and you know I go into crazy places alone and in the dark and everything, and when I get chills, it's usually because something's going down.
Yeah. No, the other thing is too. You believe, as far as to your knowledge, there's no bears in the area. Um.
uh, None that I've heard. All right, I have heard like in Ruffner Mountain and things like that. I have heard of people saying they claim to have sighted bears, but they mostly people say the bears are like in Talladega National Forest and closer to the Appalachian foothills area.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I know we had me and you. I was questioning you earlier about it on Messenger, and a couple things too. Because I've seen a lot of bears both day and at nighttime. And of course, as I mentioned, I know the black bears here on the East Coast. Their eye shines are usually red.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I never seen a black bear. If that was a black bear, I'm shocked because the illumination of the way the light's reflecting off the eyes. That there to me does not look like no bear I've ever seen. I mean,
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
I feel comfortable to say that was not a bear. So.
yeah, and like I think you were saying this too that you can't really tell on a camera about the decline, but I'm pretty sure that is where the hill starts going down pretty steep.
Mm,
So I'm hoping I can find that spot again and really try to
Yeah.
see where it was, where it was standing. Because if it is a decline, then that thing might be
Now
pretty
let me play
tall.
devil's advocate here a little bit, and I'm
Yeah.
sure Nick, you'll agree. I'm pretty sure she's probably already on it. You finding any owls that produce a red eye shine?
That's what I was about ready to ask, because
Mhm.
whenever he panned the camera and I stopped it right there, it looked like I saw the outline of an owl.
Think so, Zach? I mean, I'm just saying. When you take a picture of some humans, like one of my sons, every time you take a picture of him, he's got that red eye thing, going. So, could it be, the same thing in these creatures? Some of them have that kind of that red gives off. You guys know what I'm talking about. And then,
Mhm.
it'd be awesome if that's a real creature you got on there as far as a Bigfoot. That'd be phenomenal.
Yeah, it's hard to say, and I definitely think there's owls in the area, so it is possible.
Mm-hmm.
I
The
didn't
only
hear anything.
problem I have with the owl thing is the shape of those eyes. They weren't
Yeah.
round. They were
Yeah.
elliptical. They had a definite oval, if
Yeah.
not, elliptical. They weren't what I
Show that
Rounded.
again,
see.
Daniel. Show it again.
All right, give me a second. I'll pull that back up.
One thing I've noticed when like almost every time when I'm entering the area, I'll hear like 2 owl calls, and then I won't hear any more the rest of the time. Sometimes
Like
I'll
barred
hear more.
owl. You
Yeah,
talking about barred owls? Yeah.
and then there's coyotes in the area, and there's
Mm-hmm.
even been sightings of wild hogs in the area. So,
I think you would have heard the hog for sure.
Yeah,
Would the hog have been shorter too?
Yeah.
Yeah. No hog. I don't think that's a hog.
No.
And their eyes are
Well, that's
Okay.
not
All right,
facing
here.
forward, but not
Let me
on the
see.
side quite either.
Yeah, that's far apart.
In between.
I mean, look at that tree right here on the left. It's really close. I mean, those eyes are to me, they appear to be, look how bright.
Right. Yes. They're very bright.
Very
what
bright.
type of lumens was you using on that light, Alex?
let me look
What
it
was-
up. It's the Flashpoint Reporter. Let me see.
Like, what's the power on the beam on it?
I think it's 150 LED. Make sure this is the right one. Yeah.
Then that thing must have been pretty close, because 150 lumens doesn't cast very far. I've got a 300 lumen and it'll cast pretty far, and I've got a 150 lumen headlamp that I started off with, and that thing didn't cast very far, so you were pretty freaking close. You were basically up on that thing's ass.
Yeah. Which is pretty crazy to think about
Yeah.
if it was indeed a Bigfoot or something similar.
They
So,
are
so
oval, the
Sam,
eyes.
Sam, you think that's up on a limb there?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm
You can
excited
kind of
for.
see if you see the bottom there. It kind of does look like a limb.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
Could
see what you're
be. Could
saying.
be.
I'm excited for you to get back because now you've got another question, which this happens a lot in our field. We get more questions than
Yeah.
answers. So yeah, get a daytime deal of this.
Yeah,
You
I'm
should be
gonna
able to
try.
get it easy.
Yeah, I should be able to find that. There's like that little X I was looking at before I found
Yep.
this in the footage. So I'm gonna go back and look for that, and then I should be able to match up those branches and try to figure out exactly where it was.
And then
Well,
second thing I would do is look for evidence right
Mm-hmm.
there at that exact spot and be very careful and look all around there.
Yeah.
yeah.
Especially if you don't find any kind of like evidence on the ground, like scuff marks or anything, look in the trees, because that thing, squatches aren't have been reported to have gone up trees. Look for scar marks on that tree where it would have dug its nails in or scratched the bark off. Look to see if that thing might have gone up a tree.
Yeah. Another incident that I could share that was shared to me by a friend of mine, a real good friend of mine, who is a Bigfoot skeptic, and who actually believes there's something out there, but he don't know what.
Mm-hmm.
He was shared a story when he was a teenage boy. This man's about 60 years old now, but when he was a teenager, he was walking home alone in the dark, and he took a shortcut through the woods through an old trail, which there's houses in the area now. He says a couple of them, but he was walking down the trail, and he got stopped in the tracks. Something he had stopped to use the bathroom, to urinate, and then after he's done, he noticing something. He's hearing this low guttural growl somewhere coming from behind him. But he slowly turns around and he looks behind him back on the old trail, and this is what reminded me of why I'm sharing this, because what he said he saw was two sets of red eye shine, large eye shine, and he said he estimated they had been at least 7 foot tall.
Yeah.
That was here in Virginia, and of course, he he believes it wasn't a bear, but he can't rule. He's not completely ruling it out. But here's a man who's actually witnessed a lot of wildlife, mountain lions. Because where he lives, they're very common out that way. But
Yeah.
but yeah, he shared that with me. He said his two sets of red eye shine was pretty high up, was 7 foot. And he heard that guttural growl. I also believe if this was a bear, I think you would have heard a quick grunt as it was taking off.
I
Oh
think so
yeah.
too.
So
Yeah.
I
I'm
don't know. That's
pretty.
just my little bit of.
I don't know. That's freaky. Maybe the Mothman came to chase you.
Yeah. I was
There you
actually
go.
That was my second idea.
I was just up there at Point Pleasant, so it's possible.
Really? Oh,
He probably
geez,
followed you
that
home.
he followed you.
He might have.
Maybe the Jersey Devil went to visit Alabama.
Yeah.
Hey, does any of us here on the panel, excluding me because I'm not tech worthy, but I'm sure that you could probably take that frame there and maybe pull out some of that and see, like Zach said, and see if you can't find somewhat of an outline. I don't know if it'll work or not, but
Send it to MK Davis and let him do that little deal that you showed me, Daniel.
Oh yeah, because Fred. Yeah, you talking about the contrast with the light and everything?
Right.
Yeah. Well, I think in order to get a better comparison for MK to analyze that, like you guys had mentioned earlier, I think Alex would have to go try to if he can remember the exact spot to get a layout of the territory in the land daytime shot.
Yeah. I'm
Where
gonna
he-
try
Yeah,
to
go back, take a screenshot of the area in that video of where you're at, and go back the next day, and then take a picture of the exact spot where you was at whenever that eye shine was captured. Send it to MK Davis, see if he can do a bit of an overlay and do like a size comparison. I know he's got all kinds of techie gadgets and everything that he can measure how high something is off the ground with his computer.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that because I tried to brighten it some, but it wasn't really helping, and because I was trying to see an outline too, and I couldn't really get it. But I'm down to let anyone else who wants to try.
Yeah. Aaliyah Chicklet on the live chat said, "I just lightened a screenshot." And then they said it's still hard to tell.
Yeah.
Lightening it up is one thing, but there's actually what MK Davis does is what he calls a prism split, which
Yeah.
is something to do with the contrast of the light, extracting the light where there's darkness. And anyone who's actually watched what MK Davis did, he took a dark image of the Patterson footage and compared it to the Michigan Bigfoot photo. And one thing he was able to produce in the Patterson footage, when he did the prism split, it drew out enough light to show the background, which there was a tree in the background that I didn't know was there until he did what he did.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. He was able to draw out, pull light out, put light into the background where there was darkness, and compared it and did this. Try to do the same thing with the alleged Michigan Bigfoot photo from the fisherman. And basically, he said this is the real versus the unreal.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it was pretty impressive with what he did, So,
Some
but
people does, but that man has of experience
yeah, but
from uh did he work for NASA?
I'm not really sure his background. But I tell you what, he's very knowledgeable with the equipment and the software he uses and knows how to use it.
He worked with for years, if my memory serves, um, um, taking pictures of outer space
Oh, okay.
and working with pictures and of I don't know planets and stars and this and that of outer space. So he knows the technology of any and every camera and how they work and light and all of this. He's
Yeah.
very experienced. I think it's MK. It's not the other one, Thinker Thumper.
Yeah, I think you're right. It probably is MK Davis because he's done a lot.
MK.
He's done the fence jumper video, which that's a different story. Which part of that we actually get into that because there was something I shared with the others earlier that we've all watched and listened to on that one. But yeah, I have my opinion on that one. But
You
so,
talking about that second video you sent me today?
yeah, the one
Dude,
actually,
that was weird.
that got sent to me. Fred Caney sent me that.
Good Lord.
I think
Well, here's the thing. Here's the
Obviously,
thing, and I'm not
Don't get
disagreeing
me
with you,
started.
but this was a very interesting piece of evidence proposed evidence that Daniel sent me, that Fred sent him, and it was some of it I'll go right off the bat and knock it out saying it was a hoax. Some of it I believe was spliced in was actual samurai chatter because it sounded exactly like the kind that Ron Moore had recorded in the Sierras back in the 70s.
yeah.
What was it? I've got to know what Fred sent you.
I'll
Daniel,
try to
forward him
it
the
to you.
link.
Daniel Fred just messaged and said you did send him the link, but it didn't work.
Okay. I know I sent it to him multiple times. I don't know how else to try it.
I've sent one to Connie, and I tried to send one to him too, and it wouldn't. I couldn't get it. I'll try one more time, and then
Yeah, I
Hey,
listened to
Bob,
that.
how did you get into Bigfooting, man?
Well, since I was a kid, I was always interested in, like, I guess you'd say, like, monsters, like werewolves, things like that, and then Bigfoot as well. And like most people, grew up watching the shows and things like that. But then, as I got older, I got really into backpacking and hiking. I did the whole Appalachian Trail. In
that's cool.
2014, I through hiked it, and I've done uh, thousands of miles of hikes. So through that, and then through just my interest in all things unknown, the paranormal, cryptids, it just kept getting, you know, more and more something I wanted to actually get out and research myself. So, sorry.
So along the Appalachian Trail from Maine to Georgia, is there anything that you might be able to tell us here on the panel that you heard definitively that you can't explain what it was?
There was one night we were camped in Georgia by Blood Mountain, and we started hearing this loud footsteps walking around the tent, and it was like literally shaking the ground. I think it was a bear because it was doing the grunts. But that was walking around the tent, and then I started kind of making some noise, and it went away after a few minutes, and it kind of hiked. It went down the hill. There were some other people camped down there, and they were screaming at it all night. So I think it was a bear. There would be some strange sounds and things like that. But overall, it was just a real, like, relaxing, long walk.
Yeah.
I saw probably, I saw around 40 bears on the whole hike, which was.
How long did it take?
It took 5.5 months.
Wow.
And
I lived by the Appalachian Trail, but I never wanted to walk it.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I think it would be a cool thing to do, and I think it's cool that you did it. But for me, I'm a 50-year-old woman now. I don't,
it's a long walk.
I just sit in my chair.
I'm a cardiac patient, so that's a no for me.
Some other interesting things I heard while out there, there's some other cryptids like in Vermont that I thought were really interesting. Like they have one they call the man-eating rock on Glastonbury Mountain. The fur-bearing trout, which is like a fish that's said to have hair on it.
I've heard about those.
Yeah.
They called and I missed it.
One experience I had in the foothills here in Talladega National Forest that I still can't explain. We were camping out. We had me, my ex-girlfriend, and my dog, and we, just doing a normal camp out. We just went out to relax. I didn't even bring any of my cameras I didn't even want to bring any electronics. I just wanted to go and relax. And of course, that's when something crazy happens that I can't explain. And my dog started barking. We were kind of laying down. We had let the fire die down. We were just kind of relaxing in the tent. And he starts barking. And we look up and we see these two blue strobing lights. And they're like flying around. And one of them flies up. And it flies right by our tent. And it like dims down the light. And at that point I saw some wings. So I'm thinking, like, what kind of insect has a blue light like that? And then I whisper, I'm like, there it is. And all of a sudden it brightens up and flies off, and they both fly off through the forest floor. A couple hours later, I had fallen asleep again. We had kind of, just said whatever, that was weird. Like, what was that? Falling asleep. The dog started barking again, and we look over, and there were 6 of these things just like hovering outside the tent, and they're these blue. It's like a light blue strobing light, and they had wings. And I've tried to figure out what they were. I haven't found anything in Alabama that, there was like this beetle, but it didn't match up with like the wings I saw and everything. But that was one strange experience that happened in the forest for me.
Now I got a question. Cool. That was about ready to ask. I was going to ask you, and I'm not mocking you in any way. Do you think you could have had an encounter with some kind of like a forest fairy or something? Because those things are reported all throughout the world.
Yeah, I believe in them, honestly. I've been actually studying up on, I'm reading, there's a field guide to the little people, which kind of gives more about the European legends and folklore behind them. But stuff I was reading was kind of matching up, and even last night when I went out, they said that they like milk, and they said that they live in these little mounds. Well, in the area I've been going to, there's all these little mounds I keep finding. So I went out and poured some milk, and they say you can just pour it out, and that they like that. So I went out and poured some milk for them, and shortly after is when that red lights was picked up. Shortly after that, and gifting the tobacco to the native trail trees. like always seems to spark something for me. I don't know what it is. So I think it's possible. I believe in them personally.
I got a question. What kind of tobacco is you using?
I notice I usually have American spirits, and when I leave those, they usually literally disappear. Like I will go back and try to look for remnants. I left a Camel one time and nothing took it. It literally just sat there, and you could see where it had like the paper all melted onto the tree and everything. I always like rip the filter off and just leave just some tobacco there. But they seem to like the American spirits. Uh, I'm not sure why, but
Because I've started experimenting in my area with the tobacco.
mhm.
I'd go to the Huckster, the FS out here, gas stations, and I'd go and I'd buy a cheap can of Longhorn Straight, and I'd rip the cap off and I'd leave it to where this one tree I have is, which I call the grandfather tree, which is this real big tree on my property with multiple big trunks of branches coming out of them, and I'll set it up on top of that tree,
Mhm.
and I'll leave a recorder nearby, and you could come up and you wouldn't hear nothing on the recorder, and I'd go back the next day or in 2 days, and the can would be sitting right where I left it, but all the tobacco would be gone, like it was
Yeah.
lit clean.
Yeah,
Yeah,
on the
man.
live. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think there's something to it, like the tobacco. I don't know why. I think they like it. Something does. I don't
Well,
know what it
on the live chat, Reverb Twangs, at least some weed.
is.
He said he'll be there though.
It's funny. I do a lot of we call it ITC research, the instrumental trans communication, like spirit communication, is what some people would refer to it as. And I get a lot of stuff about weed on there. It's really weird. I'm
Is
like,
that what they
Here-
call a spirit box?
yeah, a spirit box would be considered a ITC device, and I use lots of different ones. That's one of my main
That's
things.
what we were talking about kind of the other night.
Yeah, I've got some right here. I've got the 12587. This is a new one. It's like a silent sweep, which is really good. And then I always run it through. This is called the Gateway. It reverses all the radio frequencies so that you don't get any forward radio response coming through. And
Nice.
Oh wow, I've heard
No.
about that.
What kind of price range runs on them?
this one was given to me as a gift, but this one goes for sometimes upwards over $200.
Oh wow.
This is a newer one. Dave Miller makes these, and these are actually only $37.50 shipped, and it's a really good box. It really is.
I know my cousin James Clarida, he makes all the kinds of spirit boxes, and he's even sold gear to Taps before that he makes. If you could get a hold of my cousin James Clarida, I'll send you his info. You guys, especially all you guys, if you guys are interested, I can give you his contact information. He could probably hook you up with some good equipment.
Yeah, I'm always looking for new equipment, and the Gateway device. My friend Eric designed it, and basically what it is it's a noise reduction pedal, a reverb pedal, and then he's included the echo and reverse function pedal, and then we run it all through an amp, so it comes out real loud. The noise reduction cleans up because some of the spirit boxes are very loud. It'll be like,
Yeah.
like this loud static, so that cleans it up a lot. And we've been getting some pretty amazing stuff this whole year. Like it's been a good year for whatever we're communicating with. Like we don't know for sure. Most people would assume they're human spirits or some kind of thing like that, but none of us know for sure. So, in my opinion,
Hold on,
but
Fred's calling me through Messenger.
but
What's up, Fred? Can you hear me?
Did Fred find us?
Fred,
No, he called me through Messenger.
Oh.
Did you try to turn off your phone and try to turn it back on?
Good Lord. Hey, Bob, you any part of a group?
I don't have a group per se. I do a lot of collaborations with people more so. I've been trying to link up with some more people in Alabama, but I'm more of an introvert, so I don't really hang out with many people, and some of my close friends aren't into this stuff.
I hear you.
The group that I have been working with is more of a paranormal group, but we have members who, like, one guy's really into the UFO stuff. One of my friends is like he's like an inventor as well, and he's the one who made the gateway and everything. And then, I'm into the cryptids and the paranormal and a little bit of everything. And it's
So
kind of
do you think, and let me interrupt you right quick.
Oh, you're fine.
Do you think that Bigfoot might be related to paranormal or alien or anything, or you think it's a creature that's undiscovered?
I like to stay open-minded to all possibilities, but there are certain cases and certain things that have happened to me, even where I've thought that maybe they are related to that, or even maybe that they're related to the Fae or the little people, because there's even stories about the little people growing into these giant monsters and things like that in the folklore.
I read a lot of European history and fairy and trolls and dwarves and all of that too. And I also think that there are a lot of people looking for ghosts in graveyards who end up running into Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And then that gets them on to Bigfoot too. And I don't know that Bigfoot hang out in graveyards because of the ghosts, but I do, maybe they do, but I feel like nobody goes to graveyards, especially at night, and it's a safe place for the Bigfoot to go hang out.
Yeah.
And, or in that area, because very few people go there, and especially at night. But I'm into the whole dwarf and fairy, and I don't know. I believe Bigfoot is an actual being. I don't know what he is, and I believe that there are ghosts around us or spirits around us or whatever. I'm not sure on the fairies and the other things of that nature, but I'm really interested in it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I really am.
Yeah, I mean, another thing is Bigfoot could be a physical, flesh and blood creature, but maybe it has some kind of mystic properties or some kind of thing like that that we don't understand or know about. It's hard to say.
I agree. I agree 100%.
See, that's what me and my mom was talking about today too. She's wondering, like Bigfoot. Some people say they're vicious creatures and everything, and they're malevolent creatures. But my mom, especially, she had encounters growing up out here on my farm. She would go and she'd fall asleep in the woods, and in one spot, and she'd wake up somewhere else. And she's wondering whether or not if the Bigfoot moved her as a way of like protecting, like maybe there was a coyote or a wolf or a mountain lion that was stalking her, and they just picked her up and moved her.
Yeah,
it could be.
Yeah, I get a lot of comments and just things about how people say that I should be careful of them or that they are evil or something, but I've never had any negative experience like that where I thought they were trying to hurt me or anything.
No.
I think the only time, sorry for interrupting, the only time I said to, I forgot what group it was, I commented this week if you get too close in their territory
Mm-hmm.
and they feel endangered, then I really feel like they will become aggressive.
Yeah,
Oh
I could
yeah,
see it.
I know that firsthand. I've been run out of the woods by them before.
But if you are minding your own business
Mm-hmm.
and not actively looking and searching and just sitting, that's when they're more apt to come to you and peek at you,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah, I
But
think that makes a lot of sense.
you have to be careful because you may not know that you're getting close to their territory, but they do know that you're
Mhm.
getting close.
Yeah.
And, and if they don't want you there, look out. You know.
Just like
Yeah.
with people, like, if I see someone on the street and we wave at each other, we're gonna be nice to each other. But if I'm like invading someone's space or going in their house or something, they're gonna be
Exactly.
pretty mad.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, like I tell people with any, because we were talking about that fairly recently when questions get brought up: is Bigfoot aggressive? Is Bigfoot dangerous? That's like any species, any animal, anything could be dangerous. Just don't put them in that position. You
Yeah.
know, respect them, keep your distance. I mean, from my observations, I don't know. Everybody else has different observations, but I believe that Bigfoot is a very curious creature. I know my encounter back in 2014. They were definitely curious. They showed no signs of aggression, nothing. They were actually silent, just staring at us. And now, for the record, I do want to mention this. Your eye shine, as far as the width, is exactly what we observed, except ours were like a yellowish color, a bright yellowish color. So,
Wow.
and so I think maybe that, I think that, some people believe the colors of eyes vary, for different
Yeah.
purposes, reasons. Some people say the red eye shine could be a sign of aggression. I know that's true with a brown bear, like a grizzly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but squatches, I don't know. We could assume or believe that, but it's just we don't have no proof of it either. But but
Yeah.
it could be a very similar, you know, whatever how you want to look at it. So, but yeah, it's definitely interesting. And by the way, we do have Fred Candy with us. He's actually on the live chat. So yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
Fred. I tried, Fred.
yeah.
While
Because
we were
when yeah, go
while
ahead.
we're on the topic of Bigfoot with it being more aggressive, a lot of the reports that I found of aggressive Bigfoot, two of the ones that stick out here in the Americas, is the Ohio grassman and the Ucamar from South America. They're both very aggressive Bigfoot. They actually this television show that come out on Discovery Channel UK called Operation Mungo. This guy who was a former cameraman went out on his own quest to document cryptids, and he investigated the one in South America called the Ucamar, which was supposed to be a very, very aggressive Bigfoot. It got to the point where it was harassing this rancher that had cattle. It was killing his cattle, sometimes 10 cattle a month. And he even called in the gauchos, and they're the Spanish cowboys. And they come in there for 3 weeks, and all the activity shut off. And then they left. But then the Ucamar come back later on after they left, and it got to the point where this thing was getting so pissed it come in there and tried breaking down the door of his little ranch house that he had, and he abandoned everything that night. There's still his possessions from 10, 11 years ago from where he abandoned that place. Why is it, do you think, that some Bigfoot are more aggressive than others? Do you think it's the testosterone in their body that makes them more aggressive, or they just naturally got a mean streak to them that they're so pissy with humans? What's your take on that, everybody?
Take it away, Bob.
Sorry, what was that question at the end?
I said, why do you think that the reason that Bigfoot are so aggressive in some areas of the world, do you think it's they're just real territorial, like in some sparse places in the world, It's very sparse population, very sparse food supply, water supply. That they're just real mean. Do you think it has to do with the testosterone levels that's in the body? What's your take on it?
Yeah, it's harder to say. There could be all kinds of factors. And I think even me and you were talking about it on my show about how, just like with people, there's some just bad eggs or people that are, psychotic or things like that. It could be something like that, or maybe it is a territorial thing. Maybe it even has something to do with the person themselves. Maybe there's something that the creature doesn't like about them or that is sensing about them. Uh, I don't, it's hard to say. I haven't really heard of many. I think, don't they say in Tennessee something about the devil monkeys or something like that that are supposed to be
Tennessee
aggressive?
wild man.
Tennessee
Wood
wild man.
booger. It's called the wood booger.
Yeah.
Yep, over here in our area, it's the wood booger.
Yeah, Southwest Virginia down into Tennessee. Yeah.
Kentucky. Yep.
I'm trying to think. There's something I heard about the devil monkeys, which is supposed to be like another aggressive one. But yeah, I would say
Yeah, I've heard of what you're talking about. I just can't picture where they're supposed to be located out of. Yeah.
That's neat. Didn't know that.
I've heard of them.
But
Huh.
I would say, yeah, most likely territorial or just some kind of, maybe it's got rabies or something. I don't know.
I think that a lot of people, think that these creatures are quote unquote friendly. And I am to the very contrary of that. My right hand guy or my partner in crime, Matt Delph of Mecro, he had an aggressive encounter. And every time he talks about it, he gets goosebumps and stuff. And it's, and it seems like, it's kind of like this, they say that they throw things and whatnot. And a great comparison is like when we were kids, if you got bullied on, your first instinct is usually to throw something at these kids to get them away. And, I think that's what they're doing. They just want to be left alone, get away. And if I've got to be aggressive, I will. But I don't think they're friendly in any form.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there was one night I had something it sounded like it was like snapping branches outside my tent, and then like a tree fell over, and then it got quiet after that. So I'm not sure if it was trying to intimidate me, and then it kind of backed off when I didn't really budge. I'm not really sure what was going on, or if it was just some other animal like a bear breaking some branches. But yeah, it's an interesting subject to think about, the aggressiveness of them. I wanted to tell one thing about one of my friends said he was watching the video with the eye shine on his big screen, and he was trying to take a picture of it with his phone. And he said that how phones will pick up a face. He said it actually outlined the eyes like it was picking up a face, which I thought was
That's cool. That is cool.
Wow.
Did you have another video, Daniel, of something he did that you were going to try to show us, the audience?
Yeah, I would attempt to play the audio. I just have fear that if I try to play the audio while watching the video, because I normally do, I would play the audio through my phone, through my mic here, but I don't know if you'd be able to hear it. You would have to listen to his video directly, and actually listen to it. Now, you could hear it. You could definitely hear it.
What do you think about it, Daniel?
I thought it was very interesting, very impressive. For what they've, because to me, what they picked up out there, off the Sierra Sounds, and then picked up with what you picked up down your way, that to me is very impressive. It was definitely, in my opinion, it is definitely not human.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be doing my best to get clearer audio of those sounds, because I heard the sounds again the other night or last night. Just for a moment, I heard it, and it literally sounded like a monkey samurai or something. And I was like, what? But my camera didn't pick it up great because of all the bugs. So I'm waiting until it gets colder out I've got my task cam. I'm gonna have it running on full blast the whole time I'm out. Whenever I go do this, and I'm gonna try to capture these sounds because when I hear it, people. I was doing a live stream and people were hearing it too, and they said it sounded like some kind of native or some kind of weird language or something. And
That's my next question. That's a question. Some people believe it, like the Sierra sounds or some sounds in general that we've picked up that we associate with Bigfoot. Do you, what's your opinion? Do you believe it's some kind of known language or anything?
Personally, I would think it's not a known language and it's some kind of something that they use as their own language. But if it was any known language, I would assume it would be some kind of Native American, or maybe the Native Americans learned it from them. I'm not sure, but yeah, that's what I think about that.
So let me put my 2 cents in on this, and this is just because it's happened to me. But if you get 2 or 3 barred owls and they start talking to one another back and forth, and Bill Lancaster can attest for this. And if you haven't seen his documentary Cultured Bigfoot, it's great, especially for new beginners into the field. But he was super amazed because he kept telling me, he's like, Sam, it's like monkeys, like talking back and forth, almost like a gibberish, but of course we knew better that it was barred owls. That samurai chatter, to me, I'm really on the fence about it. It just seems, but there again, I can't sit here and say I've heard anything like that, but it's just, I don't know, that it's just weird.
Yeah.
Nobody else has ever really recorded anything like that I know of. I mean, like that fluent, like he has.
Yeah, it is weird, and that's going to be one of my goals in the colder months is trying to, if they give me the opportunity and make the sounds, I want to try to get it really clear because I have the task cam and I can turn it up a lot. If there's no bugs making sounds, it should be fairly clear on that recording. But what I heard, maybe I'm not sure about owls making like lower frequency sounds, but there is like lower vocalizations that I was picking up, as well as these higher pitch, like almost like little smaller screams or something. And I'd be interested to hear what you think about it after you listen to it too.
For sure. I just know
I didn't mean to interrupt anybody. I'm sorry.
They also barred owls will do a call called the Mad Owl Call, and I've heard it on a couple different occasions, and it can very well sound like either a human, and I'm not kidding, almost like a human screaming, or sound like a Bigfoot, and it super surprised me the very first time that I heard it. But go ahead there, Zach.
Well, I was going to say, because I've had audio that I've picked up on my recorders. I think it was before I come out to Virginia, Daniel. I think it was about 2 months before I come out. I was standing outside, and I was throwing scraps out at the edge of the field, and I heard them. I heard a whoop outside, and so I ran inside and I told Mom get my recorder ready, and she handed it to me, and I went outside and I set it on the porch rail, and I picked up on my audio recorder faint chatter, and I know how coons chatter, I know how owls hoot back and forth and squall, I know how coyotes yip and everything, but this had dialect to it, and it didn't sound like no language I ever heard. It was real faint off. They were off in the distance because my digital recorders, this was before I made my parabolic, this thing, whatever it was, there was 2 of them conversing back and forth, and I was hearing dua, and I'd hear what sounds like laughing, like a hyena giggling, and then I'd hear woohoo.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't no owl. It sounded like what I'm doing, like someone's excited about something. Woo!
And that's how it was with me too. It's like just far away enough where I can make it out, but It just sounded so weird. Like
I've heard that too, and I've heard a whoop.
Hey,
Yeah,
Daniel, what's
yeah.
that question? Is there something on the chat about a question for Matt Delph or something in
Oh,
there?
that's just Harold. Harold mentions,
Oh,
"Hey
yeah,
Sam,
okay.
have you and Matthew Delph been told any reports of Bigfoot or wildman activity over in Hawkins County and Stanley County or Poor Valley along the Virginia border with Lee County?"
Yeah, I won't talk about that now, but he knows that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do want to mention real quick. I posted on the live chat for the viewers. There's a link to Alex's video right in the beginning. If you listen, it does have the chatter on it. And like I said, I posted the link in the live chat, so you can check
So
that out.
these are all on YouTube, Bob.
yeah.
What's the name of your
Yeah.
YouTube channel?
If you
Bigfoot
search for
Bob.
Bigfoot Bob is my Bigfoot channel, and then
Okay.
if you're into the paranormal, and I do some cryptid stuff on my other channel too on Spectral Wolfpack Paranormal.
Oh, okay. I didn't know it. Yeah, see, I was unaware of the second one.
Yeah, that's my main channel.
Super
It's
cool.
one I've been uploading on a lot longer. I started up. I wanted to. At first, I was putting Bigfoot videos on the paranormal channel, but I wanted to make just a channel for just Bigfoot content because, uh, just to, just because I just wanted to kind of have it separated there.
Real quick on the live chat, everybody wants a roll call on where everybody on the panel where we're all from. I'll start with myself, and then I'll name across the panel here. I'm originally from the state of Massachusetts, but grew up down here in Virginia since 1991. So I'm a Virginia resident. Lael.
I am from and live in Bath, North Carolina, on the east coast of North Carolina, but I lived up in the mountains about 15 years, and I went the mountains of North Carolina about 15
Sweet.
years, and I'm dying to go back.
All right, Sam.
Yeah, name is Sam Deloach. I am a researcher and co-founder of the Mountain Empire Cryptid Research Organization here in Upper East Tennessee, Southwest Virginia, and Eastern Kentucky. We have a great time going out and doing this stuff. One thing that we talked about it last night. When you're going out and doing this, main goal is just to have fun because 99% of the sightings that are seen are by chance.
All right, and Nikki.
I'm Nikki Cologne, and I started researching in Arizona along the Mogollon Rim. I now live in El Paso, Texas, so I'm a little bit challenged now in areas, but I still have the New Mexico area that I'm looking into once I get back out there. Right now, I'm just an armchair researcher and a lover of everything cryptid and including paranormal, and have been doing this for quite a while. Fred Canny and I were doing looking for Bigfoot podcasts with Leo there long time already.
Yeah, and Shane Bradbury.
And Shane Bradbury and Henry May and
Yeah.
there's a bunch of us, and I come and go, but I've been around for a while, so that's
Sweet.
me.
Woo, Nikki.
And Zach Sterick.
Well, I'm Zach Sterick, co-founder and team leader of the Southern Illinois Monster Hunters. Of course, our name gives us away. We're based out of Crab Orchard, Illinois. There's 6 of us on the team. I've been at this for quite a long time. I've been at this, the researching part of it since I was 10 years old, whenever I had my first encounter with Sasquatch. And then I started doing field work here in the last 6 years. I've been doing this for a while, and I'll tell you, I'm young, but I'll say this: there's a lot of unexplained things out there in the world, and me and my team's goal is to put a name on the nameless and to explain the unexplained.
Very cool. And even though we introduced you, Alex, if you want, for those who may not know you, if you want to go ahead and throw yourself out there.
Yeah, I'm Alex Bob, or Alex Bob Ulinsky, or Bigfoot Bob, whatever you want to call me. And I'm in Spectral Wolfpack Paranormal, and Bigfoot Bob is my other channel. And I do a lot of ITC, spirit box communication, Bigfoot investigations, and other cryptids, and just study a wide variety of lore and legends and paranormal claims, things like that, from Birmingham, Alabama. And I travel a lot too, so maybe you'll see me.
Absolutely. For those who got to attend the ECBRO Virginia Bigfoot Con back in June, Alex joined us. He was actually one of the vendors. Alex, you were just recently not far from up. So you were up in, was it Tennessee recently?
Recently, I was in Frankfort, Kentucky for Cryptid Con.
Okay, yeah.
And Point Pleasant, West Virginia for Mothman Fest. And but also, thanks for having me, man. I really loved your event, and I thought it was great.
Awesome.
I'm
Well,
still
I was glad to
kicking
have
myself
you.
because I recognized who you. I saw you there, but I didn't put a name with the face, so I'm still kicking myself for not actually coming over to talk to you. Don't think I was blowing you off.
No,
I had a
it's fine.
full plate those 2 days, dude.
No, I know, man. You were busy the whole time, and I know we'll see each other again, and I was kicking myself for not making it on time for the hike on the Friday. Was it Friday night? The hike?
Yeah.
And then unfortunately I couldn't make it to the camp out either. So,
It's all good.
It would have been a lot of fun.
All right, awesome. Well, again, thank you for being with us. And Bobcat Wong in the live chat has a question for you.
Right.
Do you think Mothman could be an angel with wings or a demon, or what's your thoughts on that?
See, my thoughts on specifically the Mothman of Point Pleasant. It's hard to say. A lot of people try to relate it to the bridge collapse and everything, saying that it was a warning of that. Basically, the sighting started about 13 months before the bridge collapse, and I've heard of sightings still to this day. So I don't think it had anything to do with the bridge collapse. But another interesting thing about the whole Mothman case was during the time of those sightings, there was other strange things happening. Lots of UFO sightings, the Men in Black appearance, which the Men in Black seemed almost like some kind of weird extraterrestrials trying to pose as humans or something like that. And so I think that, and I could go into this whole story about this thing that happened to me and my girlfriend. It's kind of a long story, so I don't know if you guys want me to tell it or not.
Go ahead. Feel free.
I'm all ears.
Okay, because this kind of goes into my thought. I personally think Mothman's some type of extraterrestrial or some type of being like that. But here's one reason why. Me and my girlfriend's never really been into this stuff until she met me, and I started showing her some stuff. She's a big skeptic of Bigfoot, but she's a believer in spirits and a believer in extraterrestrials. Anyway, we watched Seth Breedlove's Mothman documentary one night, and we both went to sleep, and things got strange for both of us in our sleep. I had an episode of sleep paralysis, which, if anyone doesn't know what that is, it's where you wake up but you can't move, and people have all kinds of different experiences during this moment. Some people see figures, some people see weird colors and weird static, things like that. What I saw was this weird red static, and it was all over the room. I could just see red and the static. And in the living room, which the door to the living room was right outside the bedroom, or is outside the bedroom, I could see movement out there. I'm a pretty good lucid dreamer, so I was able to get myself out of it and roll over and go to sleep. The next morning, though, my girlfriend wakes up and she was acting really weird. She wouldn't even really talk. I went and got coffee, and that's when she started talking. And she said she had this out-of-body experience where she got pulled out of her body into the living room, and there were these two beings in suits standing there, and she said she could tell their faces were disguised. And in between them, she claims was a Mothman, but it was on its knees, and they had it restrained. And she said it wouldn't look up at her. It had little feathers all over it, Uh, just a really weird. I mean, I wish I could remember it because she literally told me this so detailed, all about what she saw. And she said she was talking to the beings with her mind, and she was in this dream state, but it felt like an out of body experience. And so this whole weird thing happens. I tell Seth about it, and I was like, "Has anyone else reported this happen?" And he was like, "No, this is weird. Like, no one's ever said anything like that." I just thought it was interesting that both of us had a weird.
You know what? I have heard of that exact thing you just described. I have had one of those sleep paralysis, so I know what
Yeah.
that is, and it was the scariest shit I've ever gone through.
Mm-hmm.
But what you described about the lighting,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah.
I've heard of that before.
Yeah.
I've completely heard of that.
It was like static, and it
Mm-hmm.
was like red. And the weird thing too, when I walked into the living room where she said that they were standing and everything the next morning, once again I got chill bumps, and it felt like it was like supercharged in there. And it was just a really weird experience, and just in
Oh, and you know
general.
what else? There was even an episode because I was just telling Daniel that yesterday, was it yesterday? There was a Ghost Adventures marathon. So I was all day long, I was watching Ghost Adventures. And they had a case of that same thing,
Yeah.
where the guy had the paralysis, and when he did open his eyes, everything was red.
Yeah.
So it is happening, and there's a lot of accounts of that.
One thing
I,
I've noticed. Oh, go ahead.
no,
Sorry.
you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, in residential cases that I do, like I'll do private residential cases sometimes, which normally I don't investigate. I'll do an interview, and usually the first thing I'll do is, if they're trying to get rid of something or they don't want it there, I'll just go ahead and do like a full house cleansing, and we'll see what happens from there. And but I have had more scientific minded people come in. Like one guy who was on my show the other night told me he found that this aquarium filter was putting out this EMF field and making everybody hear things, and like when they removed that, it removed the haunting from the house. So there's always things to look for like that. But one thing about residential cases I've found is that a lot of the people involved in them have sleep paralysis episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Several that I've investigated have had encounters with what they call an old hag, like an older, really fast moving, old, creepy, like old witch looking lady that like attacks them in their sleep and like chokes them and they can't move. And then I've had
Mm-hmm.
people have the black dogs and things like that. And I've even heard about the Hat Man, which is like a famous one. This shadow
That's
figure.
exactly what happened to me in my new house, because we built our own house, and we were fine for almost a year and a half. And then when they broke ground behind us,
Mm-hmm.
the minute they broke ground behind us, uh, everything in my house like got dark.
Yeah.
And that's when I started experiencing things in the house. My dog would look up in the corner of the house
Mm-hmm.
and just stare. And I had an episode where I have a curio cabinet, and something just made the glass counter jump up and down with all my little figures on it.
Yeah.
And then I had that sleep paralysis where somebody was holding me down, and I could feel hands holding me down. And
Yep.
I was awake because I could hear everything on Tucker Carlson.
Yep.
I could hear it, and I could not move. I couldn't scream, I couldn't do anything. When I opened my eyes, I didn't see anything, though. I just felt it.
Mm-hmm.
And I would hear, we had a brand new house, so the carpet was still that fresh kind of, when you walk on it, you could hear the crunchy kind of, fresh.
Yeah.
And I would hear footsteps next to my bed. And my husband saw, what do you call, a shadow man in our bathroom,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and all kinds. And then we had a black cat that died right before we moved into the house, and I would see her
Mm-hmm.
going around the corner for a long time. But it wasn't until I had the episode with that thing holding me down that I went through and I blessed the whole house.
Yeah.
And the minute, I swear to God, the minute I blessed the last room, it was like
Yeah, you can feel
Like it was a lift in the
Mhm.
whole house. My feelings, the kids' feelings, everything changed. And it only lasted for about, I only let it go on for about 2 months before I got too scared to let it go on.
I love
And
that feeling once you cleanse and bless a house, and that feeling of the lightness and just how I love that
mhm,
feeling.
it
Um,
it was real. It happened. I know it
yeah,
happened because it hasn't happened since. Not one thing weird has happened in the house since I've done that.
I think I remember you mentioning a thing or two about it on Facebook
Yeah,
a
it
while
was a
back.
weird thing that happened, and
I said a
and I
prayer.
had already been a believer, but it had never happened to me like that in my own home.
yeah.
Especially since we built our own home. I never thought, that would it was we were the first owners, so but I
What's
take
in
it
the
that
ground and
yeah,
what was in the
that
ground on the lot behind you.
yeah, we they disturbed something over on that lot over there.
It
Yeah.
seems to me that no matter where, it could be the first time you're building a brand new house, build a brand new house on a vacant lot tomorrow, there's always going to be some kind of bloodshed on that ground.
Something.
Yeah. I find it interesting too when people do start like with certain cemeteries where people have vandalized and stuff. There's always seems to be a lot of activity around places like that. I guess just from the disrespect, maybe it angered a spirit
Hmm.
or um, one thing I wanted to talk about that's interesting involving kind of Bigfoot and the shadow figures is that at Old South Pittsburgh Hospital in Tennessee, people have reported seeing this 7 or 8 foot tall. They describe it as looking like a shadow Bigfoot, and they say it has either glowing red eyes or glowing green eyes, and they see it in the hospital, which I thought
Oh wow.
was weird.
Never
Yeah.
heard of that. That's wild.
Yeah,
Maybe it's the
My
Grim Reaper.
could be.
yeah. I know people who have seen reapers with their own eyes. These 7 or 8 foot tall hooded figures.
Wow.
And yeah, one of my friends saw one standing behind me at this location. Like he first saw this little light anomaly, and he's like, "I just saw a light." So we went to check it out, and he said, "I walked right to where the light anomaly went, and then he turned around and saw this hooded figure, and it was just gone in like a second." And he just
Mm.
starts screaming and cussing and started crying a little bit, and it was an intense moment for sure. But later, I came to find out that someone else had seen it in that same location. So I thought it was. I haven't seen one like that. I've seen some things, but not. I haven't seen a 7 foot tall hooded figure yet, so I can't say they for
I don't
sure.
want to.
Yeah.
I got a question that just popped up into my head. How many of us here on the panel have ever heard of a boggart?
No, not me.
No.
I've heard the name.
How many of us have ever watched Harry Potter, Prisoner of Azkaban? They talk about the boggart in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I watch all
It's
the Harry
supposed
Potter movies, but I can't picture what it is.
I
a boggart in the Harry Potter series is supposed to be a creature that it manifests itself in the form of the thing that the person that's witnessing the creature fears the
Yeah.
Oh.
most.
Yes, yes,
Oh,
yes.
What if, like, because Bob, you were just talking about seeing the Reaper as a hooded figure. The most
Mm-hmm.
popular thing in pop culture and all the paranormal community and Bigfoot community and all the communities, the visual representation of the Grim Reaper is a skeleton and a black hooded cloak. What if it's
Mm-hmm.
not even that? And it's just manifesting itself in a known image of it.
Yeah, definitely could be possible. Yeah, I mean, what I wonder
Yeah.
what's actually in that hood, like if it is
don't
even a
want
hood. Yeah, that could definitely be something that's possible. I think anything's possible. Really.
And you were talking um, about the Shadow Man. My ex fiance Danielle that I was with last year, she told me whenever we were still dating about whenever she was living in Missouri outside of St. Pierre, Missouri. She was talking about how her and her friend used to walk this trail at night whenever the moon would be out, and she would see this shadow thing in the middle of the trail, but never would let them get close enough to it. It'd always stay off far enough out of the way where they couldn't get close to it, but where that thing they could still see it. And she said the thing had red eyes, but she said it was a full-bodied apparition, like a physical being, a flesh and blood being. You couldn't see through it, but it was always just moving, and it would watch them.
Yeah.
And she told me about one time when she lived in the town of Muddy growing up. Her and her friend was chased by a figure that she said that she compared it to the creeper from Jeepers Creepers.
Ooh.
Wow. Yeah.
The hat, the jacket,
Yeah.
the face, and everything. And she said that thing stalked them for about 4 or 5 blocks until they hid underneath a trampoline in these bushes. And they said the thing come walking right past them and stopped and looked around, sniffed the air, and then it took off.
I actually heard a story from Point Pleasant while I was at Mothman Fest. Someone said that they were driving through the TNT area in the rain and they saw something similar to that standing. It was like they said it was almost looked like it was about 8 feet tall, and it looked like it had like a jacket pulled up over it, like a long jacket. And they said it was just standing in the rain on the side of the TNT area. And yeah, I don't know if they were telling the truth or what, but it sounded pretty creepy.
Because that brings back a report of a woman they did it on Monsters Mysteries in America, on Destination America, that they was talking about it, and it was called the Night Stalker. There was a girl that was supposed to be this is a girl from Texas, I believe, where she's moved to 3 states, and this thing seems to follow her, and she can look out the window out in the cornfield or in the bean field, wherever, and she can see the thing standing there watching her. And the thing actually, there was a gap between the window AC unit, and the thing's hand reached in trying to grab her. And it got to the point where stressing the family out so bad that the father went out in the field the next morning with a shotgun, cussing the thing and calling it every name in the book, telling it to come after him and fight.
Yeah.
And then he heard a scream, and the thing was trying to get in the house whenever he wasn't at home.
Wow.
Did they get rid of it?
They ended up just moving, but the thing seems to like to follow them around. There was one, crap, it slipped my mind just now.
Did they try to exercise it or anything?
That I don't know. There was the one that sticks with me especially is another paranormal phenomenon. How many of us have ever heard of the rake before?
The what?
Heard of it.
The rake.
Oh yes, definitely.
They did this one thing where it was supposed to be kind of like what Krampus is during Christmas, the old German, the basically anti-Santa Claus. It would punish people that was sinning, that was real sinful and real secular in the Catholic faith. This girl was at a Catholic boarding school, and they was out, you know how you're not supposed to really like smoke at a Catholic campus and everything. Well, they was smoking and drinking and smoking dope and everything. And her roommate, she woke up and she looked over, and the thing was on her, and it had its hand over her mouth, and it was trying to smother her. And it was just a big black finger with real long fingers. And she woke herself up, and she looked over at her roommate, and her roommate's sitting there scared shitless watching this whole thing happen.
Yep.
That sounds familiar. I might have heard that story.
You mentioned something about a Christmas or something.
Krampus.
Yeah, that's what I thought you thought. Yeah. Yeah, I never seen the movie, but I know exactly what you're talking about. So.
Well, Krampus is an actual legend, where Santa is the bringer of good tidings and joy and presents for the good kids, but for the bad kids, he's basically gets a hold of Santa's naughty list, and he goes all across the country and the world looking for all the kids on the naughty list. And what he does, he takes them and he puts them in a sack, and he takes them back to his lair and like eats them, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a cool legend.
That is something.
They celebrate that still, don't they? They still celebrate it in Germany or somewhere, Scandinavia.
Yeah, they do actually.
Yeah, they even build great big old things for it.
Like, I think it's like December 9th in this little town in Germany. It's somewhere in Europe. I know this for sure. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if it's in
Yeah.
Germany now. But it's like December 9th is Krampus Day. And they have like a festival and everything. And there's actually a guy. They have someone dress up in like a big old hide with horns. And they will go around and they'll
Yeah.
chase them up and down the church and stuff.
Yep.
Don't they have that? I think it's out there in like Nags Head or Tar Heels out there in North Carolina. I read about it whenever I was in North Carolina about 10 years ago. I got a book at the Wright Brothers Museum, Lael, and I think they do. It was something that was the immigrants they brought over to North Carolina, and they celebrate this holiday.
I'm not aware of it right offhand, but it very, very well may be because uh, we have a lot of between the coast and the mountains. We have a lot of Irish, and Scottish, and British folklore that came over.
I mean,
Way back
I mean,
when.
especially in that book that really stuck out to me, and it was one of the first cryptid cases that I really started researching back in 2007. It was the Bladenboro beast.
Oh yeah, I
The
know
beast of
about that one.
Bladenboro, where it
Yeah,
was cited for like I think about a week, 2-3 weeks there in Bladenboro back in
yeah, back in
'57, and then it disappeared, and
'7.
then it started popping back up in 2007.
Yeah, because my sister is a lot older than I am. I'm the baby of the family, and I had not heard of it until a good. Well, I've known about it a good while now, but she remembers it when it came out in the papers and all that it was going on. Yes, and I've seen the documentary on it too.
Now, come on,
And
Daniel. You know that's a fake wig right there. You know that.
Yeah, this video right here. Also, besides whatever's appearing in front of the camera, notice in the background there's an image walking away over here too.
okay, what is this we're looking at?
Right there, there's something back there.
That
Not
It's
is
a
sure what.
dude. It's a dude in a wig. I mean, that's a wig. That's a wig. It's not real hair.
This is a video here starting at the 21 mark. It has this one here
Yeah, I see
has
that.
it does have some vocals in it, which
That's the one I was talking about earlier.
yeah, I was gonna actually try to play the vocals on this one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the vocals, some of
yeah,
them sounded manipulated to me.
yeah.
Thank you very much. Yes. That was even worse than Flower, Mike. It was like, that was ridiculous.
Yeah, some of them sounded like the pitch was lowered, and then one of them sounded like it was recorded like inside of a room, like you could hear
Oh, thank you. That's exactly what I thought.
Right,
Exactly.
right.
You could tell it was in a room. It wasn't even
Yeah.
outside.
It was like echoey, like in like a bathroom or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Because my bathroom sounds like that when I'm like on the phone or something. I can hear it. And
Yep, exactly.
yeah, so I'm not sure about some of them sounded kind of interesting, but there was some that sounded manipulated to me.
Yeah.
So, what did you guys think about it?
Yeah, when I listened to it, I listened to the whole. Well, I watched the whole video from start to finish, and before I shared it to Nikki, I shared it to her. I said, "I'm not impressed."
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, no.
yeah, that's when she said that's all made up.
Well, shit, you just told me go ahead and listen to it.
So,
Could have saved me some time.
well, I mean, you could have had a different opinion. That's why I shared everything. That way, everyone could throw in their input on it.
Well,
If
here's
you-
the thing. Some of it does sound plausible, but a lot of that just sounds like pure bullshit to me.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I got that from Fred. Fred said that proves his point. I don't know what. That's why I wish he was on here to explain that.
There's many of them.
The some of it just sounded like it was definitely a human making these sounds.
Oh, definitely human. Yeah.
compared to some of the stuff that I heard in the woods, that sounded like something completely different. But I don't know. You know, who knows? It did sound manipulated though.
Yeah. Oh man, I see Baltimore's on the live chat. I don't know. I sent him a link earlier. I don't know why he's not on here. Baltimore, if you're listening,
Probably still at work.
No, I don't think he's at work. I don't know. Feel free to come on in, Baltimore. I sent you the link earlier.
Like, here's one thing I want to talk about. Lel, you may remember this, and it was back about 2 years ago whenever you and Shaky interviewed me on American Myths and Legends about me whenever I was out on that one night investigation and I heard my name be called. That's was the first time, but that's happened so many other times beforehand. Whenever they was playing, and whenever you sent me this video, Dan, with the audio to it, where the woman was going outside and screaming, "Buddy, buddy, buddy," over and over and over for nights on end, and then they got it on audio of it going and repeating the name Buddy.
Yeah, that's a video earlier. Yeah.
I've had that happen to me before too, but they would always be screaming my name.
I've heard a lot of stories about that.
And I would go, and of course, you hear reports of how Bigfoot will go and have been reported mimicking the sounds of cars, dogs barking, car horns, even people talking. They hear it so much as a repetitive thing, like, especially like when you're teaching like a baby how to talk. It has to be a repetitive word or phrase for the baby to, like, mama, dada. It has to be repetitive for it to be able to learn how to pronounce it.
Right. I agree.
That's one thing about the area that I've been going to. There's not any houses for a few miles, but I'll always hear these dogs barking, and it sounds like they're like coming closer to me and stuff, and I can never see the dogs or find where they are. And it just makes me wonder if it is not actually dogs, but who knows? It's hard to say. It's just weird.
I can't be mimicked, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Baltimore, check your message again. You should have a link.
I heard this one story of these construction workers.
I don't see Fred on here no more.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I heard this story about these construction workers that were working on a house, and they would always like scream each other's names, and then they started hearing it coming from the woods. Something screaming their names.
Oh wow.
Things like that. So I think it's definitely possible.
Yeah, I do believe in them mimicking, because I believe it's safe to say there's other animals that mimic. I know we talked about this not long ago, really, but yeah, there's other species that do mimic.
Yeah.
I know dogs attempt it.
Yeah.
So.
Birds.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like Ryan was talking about here not long ago, and I actually saw this video just today. I was just sitting there chilling out today by myself, and I was sitting there watching this thing. It says, "Dog says mama for ice cream." She's trying to get her toddler to say mama, and the dog starts going, "Mama, mama, mama."
Exactly.
Because here's the thing, I believe people go and they say that, well, Bigfoot can't talk and everything, but here's the thing, like a lot, because they say, well, a lot of animals can't talk, so why can Bigfoot? Because here's the thing with my theory on this, Bigfoot has the same kind of, like, you got to have muscles in the face to be able to do articulations. You got to have the right the muscles in the tongue to articulate words and phrases and all that shit. You know what I'm talking about. You have to be able to contour your mouth to be able to make all those sounds.
You have to have the vocal cords and the voice box and all that too.
And because not only that, like say I'm out here and I go, woo! And you start with your mouth closed real tight, and then you open it up, and that increases in the volume. You got to be able to have the facial muscles to be able to move your mouth to whether to lower the volume or increase the volume.
Hey Zach,
yeah,
it's like this. This is what I was taught as from a scientist. is that Bigfoot and humans are the only two species that have a chin, and without that chin, people cannot communicate. That's why if you actually hear some of the samurai talk that the Bigfoot has, you can actually tell that they're talking some kind of language, a language that they themselves understand. They don't. We don't know if they use any English words or anything like that. But there was one footage of that the scientists actually had that there was a Bigfoot that said "uh-oh" and actually said "tree." So the thing is, again, he had to learn from somewhere where to learn these words from. And actually, also too, is that y'all were talking about earlier that about Bigfoot, can actually know how your dog is named if you call your dog's name all the time. I have a dog by the name of Spud, and I call Spud's name all the time. And then so there's sometimes I hear stuff calling my dog's name. The thing is, again, is that is Bigfoot doing that? I don't know. But the thing is that but Bigfoot does have a tongue. Bigfoot does have a vocal cord, but their way of communications are a little bit totally different than ours.
Yeah, you was talking about just now about how the dogs are. I was doing a field investigation before I come out to Virginia for Brian Jeffries. He goes and he pays attention to his dogs. He's got two pit bulls with some boxer in them, Missy and Charlie. They're very alert dogs. He'll be sitting out on his back porch because we had some activity going down whenever I was up there doing that investigation that weekend. We would sit there and he'd turn the dogs loose to him. He'd be just sitting out on the back porch drinking coffee and shooting the shit, and he and the dogs. We'd watch the dogs play around in the backyard by the woods, and then their ears would get down real low and their tails would go down. And that's when we know, because I find that with my Australian Shepherd lady that my grandparents has. She'll follow me around. I swear she'd follow me through hell and back. She goes out with me some nights on my night hikes that I do in my research area. Well, we was out, me and Lady was, and Lady's out doing all this kind of stuff. She's out sniffing around and, I guess, hunting for moles and rabbits. And I hollered out and I said, "Come here, lady, come here, baby." And she come running up to me, and then faint off in the distance, I heard, "Lady." And she got right up underneath me. She got in between my legs and was cowering. And I knew, because there's no one around for about 2 miles radius from where we're at. And I knew it couldn't have been the neighbor that lived about a half mile behind us, behind where I was at, because he works night shift. And I talk to him every night whenever he goes out to work. I talked to him that night before he left. And I know he's got a tenor voice, a high pitched voice. This voice had some bass to it, but it sounded like a grumbling.
I have a thought, and it may be really stupid, but it just occurred to me. You know how people from other countries come to America and they say that they learned English from watching TV?
Mm-hmm.
What are the chances that, yes, that Bigfoot is learning English from sitting out in the woods listening to us talk?
That's
Very good point.
Excellent,
Mm-hmm.
excellent point.
Yeah, I think
It
that's
just, I mean, it's kind of occurred to me before, but not quite in this aspect.
Well,
But I,
I can see how that makes sense where they're picking up language, but how would they learn to understand what it means and how it's directed?
well, I don't know. If you call your dog and the dog comes and that's the name of the dog, or if you call your children and they come. I mean, I'm not saying that they learn our
Putting
entire
two and two
language, but
together.
they could pick up meanings from
Right.
Like if they're sitting in the woods looking at your house and your mama walks out and says, okay, bye bye, and gets in the car and drives away, then they might,
Yeah.
I don't know how intelligent they are or not. We know that they are to a big degree, but same thing as like we were saying with babies.
Right.
Bye bye, bye bye. Or, I don't know, it's just a shot in the dark.
Do
I agree with Lale to an extent. Like they're putting two and two together. Like you say
Yeah,
hello, and someone comes to you. It comes in the
Mhm.
house. They'll take that as saying, like that's a form of a human greeting somebody. And whenever they're saying farewell and bye to somebody, they'll say bye, talk to you later. And that person that they're saying it to takes off. They're taking it. They're putting two and two together. It's not like they're sitting out there with a Merriam-Webster dictionary in their back pocket.
Yeah.
even
do
It's the
well,
primitive small words.
even if you think about it, how many words does your dog understand?
Yeah.
Food, you want to eat, you want a snack, come here, sit down, let's go to ride, you want to take a walk.
Mhm.
They say that any intelligent dog is has the not grammar, but is about on the age of a 3-year-old child as far as words they can understand and whatnot.
Mhm.
And think
I've
about
heard
the
that.
gorillas and baboons and chimpanzees that have learned sign language, and they understand a lot of words. I don't know. I was
Perfect
just saying, let's just put
perfect
it out there.
example. Perfect example. Coco the gorilla. She was the only primate in history to fully understand sign language.
Mhm.
Exactly.
So
That's
that
incredible
brings
too.
up a valid point. Like these things are smarter than what we give them credit for, and they've been around here a hell of a lot longer than we have. So what's to
Mhm.
say that it hasn't been passed down from generation to generation in the Sasquatch world, where they pass it down by word of mouth or sign language to the younger generation?
Yeah.
I think there's a good chance.
See, I believe that that Bigfoot has been around so long is because they know how to hide well. The thing is, again, is like they could be watching us for entertainment, and also too is that they'll know when we're leaving our house when the door slams, or leaving the car.
Mhm.
When we get in our vehicle, we hear the car door slam. They know that we're taking off, and they know when we get home.
Yep.
And but their talent, their skill, I mean, everything that makes them perfect, makes them a perfect animal or whatever they are, is that how they can hide so well in the forest, so
Mhm.
excellent in the forest.
I
And
agree.
so
Yeah.
they
It's
have to they have to know how to get away from us, how to hide from us, how to get their main thing is not to be seen. Like
Exactly.
the other day, Redding and myself, we were telling stories about how adults teach their children, hey, when you do a kill, make sure that y'all settle down, don't be celebrating, or else some human can hear you.
Right.
Mhm.
Things like that. But it's always good to like today, for example, I went to Berkeley, Texas. I had a call from this man there that actually found a footprint underneath his feeder, and that he wanted me to go there to take a look at it. And it just finished raining. We had a pretty bad rainstorm here in B County and also in Goliad. And there, lo and behold, he showed me this footprint that is filled up with water.
Oh man.
So that's why I said, man. But you know what? I asked him, "Do you mind if I cast it?" And he comes up, he goes, "No, I don't mind at all. But my main thing was I wanted to go see his terrain."
Yeah.
I wanted to go see what made uh what made Bigfoot go over there. Number one, he has like around 7 hidden lakes there, filled up with water and fish. The abundance of deer, abundance of wild hog. He has so much. He has so much meat in there that could actually could sustain a Bigfoot. And I have the cast here that I actually took. I don't know if y'all can see it or not, but it's massive.
Back up a
Yeah.
little bit.
So, it's huge, and it measures 19 and a half long by 9 inches across. But the thing is, again, is that all it was is just a big impression on the soil underneath a deer feeder, and with no toes, no nothing, because the rain washed everything away. But can I call this a Bigfoot track or anything like that? I can't, because I'm not 100% sure what it is. But the indentions were perfect. It's shaped just like a giant foot and everything like that. But I didn't see no toes. But I did find hair on the barbed wire fence, which I'm actually going to have that checked out.
Cool.
So what if it actually is a hair from an unknown primate or whatever it is, and then the footprint is there? Well, I could call it that. So if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool.
And there's one thing I want to talk about here that just happened here recently, this last weekend. I was talking to a friend of mine. He's the rookie on the Southern Illinois Monster Hunters, Grady. He went camping with some of his family down in LBL, down by Grand Rivers, where the LBL Dogman is. And he was talking to me. He sent me a picture on Snapchat, and it said "Land Between the Lakes." And I said, "You do know that's where I told you about where the Dogman was?" He goes, "Yeah, I've been trying to talk to the locals down here, but they won't say nothing." And they run me out, and now we're staying in a hotel. We couldn't camp out no more. I said, "See, that's your first mistake, because even Jody Cook told me about this whenever I was planning on doing the expedition into LBL this last year." Um, he said, "Whatever you do, don't go asking questions, because they'll notify the authorities, and the authorities will kick you out of the park."
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of the land between the lakes and some of the stories there.
Yeah, I've been there.
See, where LBL is, where Grand Rivers is, that's only 60 miles from my house due south down Route 24.
Oh,
Hey,
that's not far.
Definitely check it out. I really enjoyed it there because they have the whole trace road you can drive down and pretty much take any side road and find like old cemeteries that used to be where the towns were there. And there's supposed to be these old bunkers that people find that kind of look like traps, something like that. And then there used to be an old hotel up on the hill, but it's pretty much now there's just like a chimney there because I went up and found it.
Oh,
And
hell, the Hotel California
yeah, and they
deal,
called it like the
the
Vampire
Vampire
Hotel.
Hotel.
Yeah, it's pretty much gone now, but like there's a few remnants of it up there. And I really liked it at Land Between the Legs. I want to go back for more.
hey
Let
guys,
me
I
know
want
when
to
you head that way. I'll meet up with you. We'll do some
Yeah,
work.
that'd be great.
play this video for you guys. Ryan Reed shared this earlier. All right, and it's a bear. You can see a bear messing with the camera, and as the bear walks away, it definitely appears to be injured, like it's limping away. You watch as a bear, another bear, or the same bear comes back. Watch to the far right of the.
Okay.
Yeah, let me get back to the screen where it's gonna play.
Right.
Yeah, definitely watch over here. See where my mouse is.
Yep.
Because that shifts over. Yeah, the camera kind of shifts over, and there's something standing there. I don't know. Some people think. A couple of people said, "Oh, it might be another bear," but it looks too tall, too big to be a bear. I want to get y'all's opinion on it. Here it goes. And here's another bear or a bear. Yeah, watch to the far right, right up here.
Okay.
It's gonna shift over a little bit. It only shows it for a quick second.
Oh
You
yeah.
guys.
Oh my God!
It looks like a monkey. to
Play
me.
that back.
I'm gonna try to pause it.
Right there.
That might be the bear.
Could it be another bear?
His shoulder's a little too sloped for my taste.
Is it? Oh shoot! Let me start all over again. I'll try to pause it again. It only, like I said, it only shows it real quick. But it's that bear walking away. Yeah, it might be that bear, but it looks
Yeah,
all
that bear
big in the
comes-
distance.
It might be that bear, but
Yeah, it's hard to say.
it just looks squatchy a little bit. I don't know, but see how far the legs are apart?
Yeah,
Looks like we're looking at the ass end of a bear.
that's what, maybe. Yeah, that's a good possibility.
Might be.
When I watched this earlier, it was on a smaller screen. Now I'm seeing it a little bit bigger. This is the biggest I could get this video to show.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that could be the other bear because
Yeah,
it
'cause he
looked,
went-
even though it's in the distance, it looks a lot bigger than the bear that walked away.
Yeah.
And again, you know, camera angles and positions kind of can play a joke, kind of play tricks on your mind, but your eyesight too. But
Mm-hmm.
Well, also too, if you look at it, it looks like because down here in South Texas, you know, a lot of the Bigfoot walks on all fours, and so that's the way that when there's actually a lot of cattle here, so it's mimicking the cattle, and it also, like I said, walks on all fours, and then right up there in the front, it actually looks like it is a frontal shot of something up front, like
Mhm.
two. Now go back a little bit, Daniel.
oh wait a minute, it looked like it lifted its head up. Let me.
Yeah,
trying
like,
to-
it looks like it.
Oh crap! It takes.
It's so hard to.
I saw it. It did lift its head up and down or something. It did move. Now,
Yeah,
don't know if it was a bear or I've seen fire and rain enough.
For me, it's real hard to tell.
Yeah. Yeah, for that one, it'd be good to if we could slow it down a lot and zoom in on that thing.
If this was on, you know what?
If it was on YouTube, yeah, you might be able to.
Oh no, it does give me the options like YouTube.
Yeah.
More video. Let me try something real quick.
Yeah, it's worth the shot.
No, it doesn't give me no slow motion. Not like YouTube.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah. I mean, since that other bear
Man.
was going in that direction, you know, it could definitely be that other bear, but
Yeah.
it does.
I don't know, but I was thinking there's a couple of good sized limbs or whatever behind it. Did he walk over them or walk around them and see the
Mm-hmm.
limbs? Did he walk around them and then stop there? Or did he step over them? Or
Or yeah, could have gone underneath because it's hard to tell. Yeah, I see what you're talking about, Leo.
I think
Yeah.
it's that limp bear, the first bear.
Yeah, because looking here, right at the tip
Walking.
looking at the tip of where my mouse arrow is, looks
Mhm.
like that might be where the ear is, or the like it's starting to lift its head again.
I see it now. Yeah,
Yeah.
Of course,
good idea.
that would make me think, though, you know, like Bigfoot's the apex predator, you wouldn't think there'd be any bears around, you know.
Yeah, I think that's the other bear, personally.
I don't know, but it's what the heck am I trying to say? It's it's a good likeness of a Bigfoot. It, you know, it will get your attention. It's an attention getter. There you
Yeah,
go.
For
yeah.
sure.
Because I tell you what, like I said, when I watch this on the smaller video, the way Ryan shared it earlier before I found the guy who actually posted it, he had it set up to where it was real small to see. And the way I watched it, it looked like it was something actually literally standing bipedal, and it did a sidestep. But now that we're viewing it like this is a whole lot better.
How
Which,
you got it? Oh, sorry.
oh no, that's all right.
I was gonna say how you got it now looks almost like an Ewok from Star Wars. For some
Yeah,
reason.
right. Yeah. So, so I don't know. I mean, I guess it's in a way it's safe to maybe say it probably is the other bear, most likely. I mean,
What
what
if
do
it's a
you?
Littlefoot?
I'd say most likely it's the other bear, but it's a good darn picture you might could crop
Yeah,
and say it's a Bigfoot, and it would be somewhat believable.
It's
yeah.
definitely some cool footage either way with the bears.
It is.
Oh yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, I wanted to share that with you guys, get your input on that because I
Yeah.
thought it was very interesting early when I first viewed it. It was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah. So yeah, it's I
I'm
guess safe to
very
say it's a bear.
Hey,
interested.
Daniel, did you see that story that I posted on my Facebook page today?
No, I did not. No.
And
Well,
that one is if you want to play it for everybody and listen to it. It's about this guy, I believe in the Huntsville area, Huntsville, Texas, that his
okay.
nephew saw and his friend saw 4 juvenile Bigfoots on the road, and they were like around 4 foot tall.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah. So and they were driving at night, and they looked like vultures. And she was saying that vultures, and the nephew was saying, "Hey, wait a minute, vultures don't eat at night."
Yeah.
And so when they got real close and they noticed this, well, they stood up and they said that they have like long arms and long legs, and there was 4 of them, and they actually went into the woods, and and they said they were like around 4 foot tall.
Oh, is it the one with the older gentleman sitting down?
Correct.
Tell you what, let me try to pull that up on my phone and I can play the audio. Because if I play it through this here, we won't be able to hear it.
See, and that's when I'm talking about, getting the old timers or getting people out there. I don't care if the story is 10 years, 5 years, 3 years. Something about making, uh, uh, letting us tell their experience, what actually happened to their uncles, their nephews, their dads, their grandparents, like that. We could basically find out, hey, where's the best place to look now? Because we
Yeah.
know we have activity over here. We know we got.
the old stories are the best.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And tell us more. And the old stories are the best, especially from Native American, but the early settlers too.
Yep.
It just wouldn't make sense for honest people, and we know most are honest, to describe the same thing that Daniel Boone saw in 18 whatever, and the Native Americans have been telling us about for years.
All right, I got it pulled up on my phone so I can play the audio.
I love the old stories.
While I was getting my phone situated, I saw Fred was live. Poor Fred, he's only got one viewer. Someone to go watch him.
I could open another window and watch him, but I mean,
All right, give me 1 second, guys.
Fred's entertaining. He is.
Yeah.
Yes, he's very entertaining.
I wish he could have came on here. I wish he could have joined us tonight because there's a couple things I wish he could have helped explain that we were discussing earlier. And I know he had a lot to say about it. And it sucks that he couldn't get on here. But
I love Fred very much. And
yeah,
Fred is super knowledgeable.
Yeah, he's got a lot of information. Yeah, Fred's a good guy. I like Fred.
And I love Connie. I miss Connie.
All right, I'm gonna push. Hold on. Let me
And
get this screen share going so you guys can watch and listen at the
what I'll
same
say
time.
about that.
I hope one day they add the audio to Hangouts where you can share audio.
That would be awesome. I know it's.
I don't know why they haven't.
All right, let me go back to the other screen. I'm gonna enlarge it.
Oh.
Guy Reader is a friend of mine. He lives here in Kingsville, Texas, and he's a hunter. He's got some property in Oklahoma, and he lives here. And we've been touching base. I value his input on tracking and whatnot. He's the one that posted, or actually, I got the pictures that we posted. I posted a couple of posts back. They're better in hand. Looking at them, but you can see more detail. I'm sorry the pictures I posted didn't come out better, but he's got a story of his brother, and if you want to take it from there, Guy.
Yeah, well, not actually my brother, but my brother's boy.
Okay.
My brother left California and moved back to Arkansas and moved on to a farm there in Madison County, and in between Fayetteville and Huntsville. And you get on road 623, pretty wide and crooked road, but it's 7 miles west of Huntsville. You get off on another road. This is a dirt road, and you go when you leave that road, you go down into a low place and cross a creek, what's called a low water crossing. And from there, you cross this creek, and you start up this hill. This hill is about total about 5 miles. It's a winding, crooked hill, goes through a real steep canyon, I guess you call it. On each side is woods and creeks in the woods, small wood. But anyway, my nephew and 3 other boys had went to Huntsville one night to a movie. And they came back, and they come off of this road, the main road, and got on this little dirt road that goes up my brother's house. Up in the front of the car, when they crossed this creek and started up this small hill, sort of a flat place. And then in their car lights, they saw what appeared to be a buzzard sitting around something. And they thought, well, that's strange. Buzzards don't eat at night. This is nighttime. And they come on up. And when they came on up, these creatures that were supposed to be buzzards, they got up and started moving. And they appeared to have long arms and long legs. And apparently they must have been juveniles, but they shuffled off and they went off into the east side of the creek. And the strange part about them, their hair sort of had a glow to them. Now, Wayne is my nephew. I would not believe him, but the other boys had the same stuff. They had the same story.
You got to look at the whole story.
They had, I questioned all the boys. They had the same story, and they all stuck to it. That these preachers got up there for them, and they got up and stood up straight. They didn't shovel all like a chimpanzee or anything. Yeah. They got up and ran away. And once they got up,
did they tell you what size they thought it might have been? Like, how tall they might have been? Possibly? Did they have any?
About 4 foot tall.
4 foot. Okay.
But when they got up, they were what you call hover down on the haunches, like sitting on their butt.
Yeah.
And their knees folded up, and that appeared to be like buzzards. But when they come on up, they stood up, and they got up, and they were walking foot tall.
When did this happen? When do you remember?
Back in I'd say 84, 85. My brother still lived there, and had Wayne came back from Vietnam, and he had come back to live with my brother, my nephew, and he was going to school, and he was sort of hanging out with my brother there, working, and hanging out. Like I say, if it had been Wayne, I probably wouldn't have believed it, but the other boys had the same story.
Well, it's hard when you got only one witness. You know, when it's always better on howls and sightings. If you got two people that they're validated, they're seeing the same thing. It's just a little bit. It's a lot better, you know. But you got to take into credit consideration who's telling the story. You know.
But that wasn't the end of the story. Some of the other people in that area had seen things running through that area too, and my brother lived in his farmhouse up on a hill, and off to the east, the middle of the pond. He said he had a habit just sitting there with a cup of coffee, looking for cows. And one morning he was sitting there and drinking coffee. He said something come out of the woods and run across the road, across the meadow.
Oh, really?
Ran.
At what time of the day was that? You said
it was probably 9 in the morning.
Okay.
So there's been other people see the same thing in that area.
These events, what time of the year were they? In the cooler months, or
that one particular event was a fall of the year.
The one with the juveniles.
The other, when my brother saw this, was like the early spring.
Okay.
Two different time events. So
yeah, I think there were
several people that have seen these things in this same area.
Well, that's good. That kind of lends credit to each story when there's more sightings in the area. That's good. Well, I just wanted to share this with everybody in the group. Guy's paying attention. He's going to let us know if he has any more events in his property. And
as far as I know, there's been no follow-up on these stories.
Yeah.
On that area.
I mean, that's the first I heard of them. Especially a bunch of juveniles together. I've heard a lot of stories I ain't heard. So that's a really interesting story. And I'm going to have to ask some other fellow researchers if maybe they just haven't shared those. I mean, there's just so many eyewitnesses, so many stories. But it's something for all of us to keep in mind. But thanks, Guy, for sharing that with us. And we'll be getting back to Guy from time to time whenever he has some stuff going on.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was interesting. Now,
yes, it was.
Baltimore, are you still with us still?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Or does anybody recall where did that take place down in your area?
At Huntsville, I believe it was.
Huntsville, okay.
Yeah, Texas area, maybe a few, like 3-4 miles up.
Oh, okay.
I mean, not 3-4 miles up, 3 or 4 hours up. But again, I just showed that because of how old the story is, how credible the witnesses are.
Yeah.
And then the thing is, again, that's what I call, getting information.
Right.
Because I haven't heard of 4-foot Bigfoot or, juveniles, small like that, together in one area.
Exactly.
But the thing is now is that what makes this so credible and what makes this so interesting and everything like that is that, wow, there's a 4-foot Bigfoot, 4 of them, in Huntsville, Texas, going on the back roads. Where's their mamas? Where's their dad? Why are they hanging out together? There's a lot of questions opening up. How old are they? And then so now we know that there's a breeding population here in Texas. And where do they go?
Right.
There's a lot of questions.
Well, the other thing I find intriguing about this whole story is that they're juveniles. How are everybody's always talking about? Yeah, I've seen them 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot, 10, 9 foot, and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you never hear of a juvenile story. Very, very seldomly do you. And yeah, like and what you're saying, I think that's very intriguing that they would, there's eyewitnesses to a group of them. You know,
Yeah.
so
I agree. There's not that many stories of just juveniles. Um, and who knows, their mom and daddy could have been in the woods watching them in the field or whatever. And I have read or seen um, old stories of children playing in the wheat fields and the cornfields and the whatever with a couple at a time. That a couple of juveniles will come. I don't know if they were 4 foot. I don't, but they were old enough that they were out by themselves, so to speak, and they would run and play in the cornfields. I've heard old stories of those. I think the juveniles, I think they let, once they reach a certain age, I think they let them go a little bit. Not too far, maybe not too long, but I think they let them go a little bit because the juveniles have got to learn to be on their own too, like I guess we do with our teenagers, or But 4, I don't know. I'm done.
yeah,
Y'all,
excuse me.
y'all comment.
Well, Baltimore, you're talking about, yeah, you were, one of the questions arise where are the parents if the juveniles are hanging together? I mean, could it be the same concept as, you know, like look at me back in the day, when I was a teenager, when I got my
Mm-hmm.
license or whatever, you know, mom, dad, I'm going to hang out with, my friend Mike,
Yeah.
and then we all get together, we go to the mall and we all got our cars. We're parked in a clustered up in the mall parking lot, thinking we're the shit, because we're young
Yeah.
dudes with newer cars, back in the day, and so it's kind of like the same thing. Maybe I think it could be a possibility where the juveniles clan together and hey, let's get away from mom and dad and go chill and do our thing. So
I,
Totally.
you
I
know,
think they do. I think that the mamas and daddies may be in the woods looking, or but they aren't too far away. I don't think, but they're letting them go. You've got to let them go so they can learn. I mean, you teach them, you show them what
right,
they do and whatever, but then there's a time you kind of got to let them go and drive the car out the end of the driveway,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I think that they do that.
oh yeah,
And I also think that they build little, if you want to call it a nest or a crib or a playpen or whatever, or they have hidden places that they stick the babies so that they can go and find food or do whatever else.
right.
So that's, the growing up end and the fresh baby end. I think they do that too. Well, deer do that. Deer put the phone somewhere, and in whatever way they do tells it to stay, and the phone lays there and don't move while mom goes to eat.
Absolutely. Um, Zach or Alex, any of you guys want to show your input on that? What we just listened to, as far
Yeah.
as
I actually did a interview of my friend Jeff uh, recently, and he back in the 80s as well saw a 4 foot juvenile that he said like put its hands up over its face when it saw them.
hmm,
And this was over, I think it was in Georgia near, I think it was called Pigeon Mountain. But he told me a story about that, and So that's kind of interesting. And then in Alabama, we have this thing people call the Alabama white thing, which is like a white cryptid. Some people describe it as looking like a Sasquatch. Other people describe it as looking like something else. But there was one lady, I want to say she was, they all go to the same church, but all the elders there have seen these things. And this like 90-year-old lady has said she'd seen babies of these things, and they have little red eyes. They're like almost like albino Bigfoot or something.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So I have heard stories about the juveniles, but like you said, not as many, not a lot.
I think that the juveniles come and play around Fred, Daniel,
Yeah.
because he's been there 30 years, and they know him.
Well, over in the particular Clow Road, he hasn't been there for 30 years. He's actually lived elsewhere, but before that, but he said he's been researching for 38 altogether. But yeah, he's been in that area for a long time. But yeah, not he's been he used to live about an hour and a half east of this area. What's it called? Because the town he lived in, I lived there too before I moved. Yeah, what's the area? It's a town, a small town. It's like way out in the woods. I forget the name. If you say it, I'll know it.
I know it, but
he was just there for his family reunion because I used to live there for a short period.
Was it Coffee something?
No,
Maybe that's where Connie was. I know what. Anyway, but I was talking about the Coal Road.
Oh yeah.
Coal Road up by you, by the Blue Ridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went there after the event.
Oh, okay.
I got some footage of that bear, and then there was something else. It might have been another bear. I couldn't see it, but it was moving behind me, and that's when I kind of started backing out and got out of there. But,
oh wow.
There was a bear up on the one side, and then I heard either the bear moved and knocked some rocks over, or something was clacking rocks together. But yeah, that was.
Do you recall? Could you recall what particular area you were up in that area?
Yeah.
When you go on Coal Road, there's like a little trail and some spots where people camp.
Okay.
I can send you the video.
Yeah, because I'm just curious to know what area you were in. Because was there a big field you had to walk in? Was there a big field you went by any chance?
I don't think so. It was like a trail that went by some creeks. And
there's a lot of creeks and streams up here, tons of them.
Yeah, because I drove down the rest of the road, but there was like this one little parking area with some big rocks, and there's like a trail that goes straight back.
Yep. Did it take you back to a reservoir or a small little body of water?
I might not have made it back that far. I only went probably maybe 1 or 2 miles back.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find it. And then I saw the bear, and the bear was up on the ridge, and I was just like kind of keeping my distance and watching him. And then I started hearing something behind me.
I'm definitely curious to know what area you were in, because there's areas I've had activity out there, and
I have. Good grief, did I get an experience?
Yeah, you never know what to expect out there.
Oh my God!
The reason I went out there was because of what was that guy's name who had the hair sample that you guys? The guy who was at ECBRO conference.
Fred
Caney.
Was the guy with the beard? He was like 2 booths down from me.
You talking about Pat Jarrett?
Yeah, Pat.
He had the tufted hair, the hair.
Have you guys gotten anything back from that yet?
No, I'm actually still waiting on that because I did get I was given some samples of hair. The owner of the hair, he actually told me the hair, even though the rest of the hair has actually been handled by hands, but he said when he got me some hair samples, he said he pulled it from the very middle, very carefully, while wearing protection. So he believes what he gave me is not contaminated. So I hope so. So that way we get a more of an accurate reading.
What I saw and felt and smelled, I can't say it was Bigfoot hair, because I'm Miss Joe Blow here on the chair.
Yeah.
But I was raised in the country, and my daddy hunted, and we had a farm, and I have been around butchering and killing and smelling every damn thing from farm animals to wildlife. And I had never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
It was definitely not carpet or a sheet or human made. It was definitely hair, but it was just coarse and strange, and it still had a smell to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna play this video that Alex just sent us right here.
Alex,
let me
who?
do this.
Me.
My God, we got to pick a name for him.
And the reason
I know, I've been gonna call him Bob.
Yeah, you can call me Bob or Alex. Alex Bob.
Daniel, you need to change Bob. We already got 2.
And Daniel, Pat was the one who told me about Cole Road, and
oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
And I was talking, Joel and I think Joel and
Joel Laskins, yeah,
and Debs and is it Thundercat?
Yeah.
Thunder?
David Thundercloud from Maryland.
Thundercloud,
Oh,
yeah.
Thundercloud, yeah.
They were all hanging out. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. You go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say they were going to go with me to Cole Road, but then they ended up going somewhere else, and I went to Cole Road, and then
I had a lot of experience on the Cole Road. A lot of paranormal. And what Fred says was Bigfoot. All I know is I got what do we call it, Daniel? I got
Yeah, I can remember. I was up there the one night with you guys, but
I got, what did they call it when they zoom in on you and give you the headache?
Oh, is that you like zapping or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
I got zapped. I know darn well I did.
All right, let's I'm gonna play this here. Let's we'll go. I'm push play in
around 3 minutes.
I'll hush my story.
But this is where I was at Cole Road.
Oh crap! The audio's down. Crap.
Is it?
So while at the ECBRO Virginia Bigfoot Conference, I got a tip that I should go to a place called Cole Road in the Blue Ridge Mountains. The man who told me claimed that he had gotten wood knock responses while on the road. When I got there, I hiked in a little bit and found some strangely placed branches and trees. Hey guys, I'm out here in Virginia, a place called Cole Road. See if we can't have a Sasquatch experience.
You're on one of the upper Jeep trails there, or one of the Jeep trails, I believe. Oh, wait a minute. I know exactly where you are.
Yeah, it kind of goes back, and there's some creeks, and
yeah, does it kind of come to a dead end?
It started getting like kind of overgrown, like people hadn't been back there in a while.
Yeah, I think that you might be in the area where Fred calls is referred to as the Berlin area.
And then
yeah, if that is, you better get the hell out. Too late now.
And the bear comes in about I think it's a minute or so.
I did not go hiking to see the birthing area. I felt like it was none of my business.
To sort of lean here.
Yeah, if this is the birthing area that Fred calls the birthing area, it's where you camped at Layla. Hold on.
I camped at the swimming hole. Remember his regular camp at the swimming hole and the tile under the road?
Yeah, the birthing area. Yeah, you would have to drive there. You wouldn't be able to walk there so easily.
I didn't.
Yeah.
No. I did not. I didn't care to go.
Yeah.
I didn't want to see one that damn bad to get run out. I wanted to see one, but not up close. But we still had a lot.
Now, is that a cave there?
That's a bear.
Oh, it's a
Yeah.
bear.
Yeah,
Okay.
there is cave structures in the area. You got to go way back up on beyond the mountain. There's a couple of jeep trails that'll take you to some cave structures up there.
If
Yeah.
if you on that video, if you can turn the quality up a little more, I might be able to make out the bear a little better, but I'm not sure if it'll.
Yeah,
run
yeah. I
without.
saw the face earlier.
Yeah, and then after the bear started going up over the ridge, is when I heard like either the bear kicked a rock or something, or it clacked. Because I started hearing the rock clacking, and then I started hearing something behind me, closer on the like down the ridge.
I heard a whoop and a tree knock.
After the bear went up over the ridge, I started hearing some kind of commotion, which is where we hear the rocks clack and the beginning of some motion behind me, which continues on for the next couple minutes.
Oh yeah, I heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it might be kind of hard to hear over the audio, but there's something else moving around me.
The rock clack is pretty interesting to me because I hear it once and then it seems like either the rocks were thrown maybe or something's walking and then it clacks together again.
Can you go back a little bit?
How far back?
Maybe a few sinks to the left hand side.
Hold on, I got a little cursor bar. I got something on my screen that I'm viewing. I got something that won't allow me to turn it back yet.
Okay, I see. Okay.
Yeah. It's my stop sharing button. It's in the way of the.
I see.
Yeah.
Sometimes, Daniel, when I go to certain locations and everything like that, and then to me, I actually feel that certain feeling that someone is staring at you and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
So that's when I stop and stay still. I'll stay in the opening and let them be in the woods, whatever it is in the woods. and I just stay there. And but the thing is, again, if you actually because now they're not looking at you at 9-10 feet. They're looking at you at all fours and real close to the ground, like that. You won't have a chance to see them.
Yeah.
I mean, they are so they're the best way to describe ninjas in the forest.
Oh yeah,
And
no, like
yeah, sometimes you only have sometimes you even have one split second to actually see them, and it's so difficult to record it because once you do that, they're gone. When
Yeah.
I would go when I would go into the woods and everything like that, I could feel that something was following me, and the only thing I would see is a glimpse to an arm, and then all of a sudden it would be it'll be gone, and I would go back to the area, and it would be I mean, it's so much sandy loam that you can find no tracks or nothing.
right. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Now, like this particular area he's in here on the Coal Road, anyone like Fred will tell you, a lot of the area is full of mountain laurel, as you see right here. And the one thing about mountain laurel, even throughout the winters, mountain laurel is probably one of the only trees that will stay, keep its leaves.
hardwood.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
They bring.
Can you hear that thing moving around, Daniel?
Yeah.
There's one point where you can hear it kind of like snap a branch or something too.
Yeah, because Fred mentioned on the live chat you were being watched and followed.
Yeah, and that's when I started backing out because I couldn't see it, but I could hear it, and I just started kind of making some distance.
Yeah.
You felt the urge to retreat.
Yeah.
I tried to see what was moving behind me, but the tree coverage kept me from seeing it. So keep your eyes peeled and let me know if you see anything that I miss. Possibly another bear. I don't know. I didn't see it. All I know is that it sounded like it was coming toward me at a certain point. And that's when I started backing out, just in case it was a bear or something else. I wasn't in the mood to do battle.
Sorry if you guys can hear my neighbor's dogs. They bark like all the time.
I was hearing that. I thought it was part of the audio.
No, it's
Hey guys, I'm going ahead and cut it short tonight. I haven't eaten dinner yet, so I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. And it was good talking to everybody.
Yeah,
Hey, thanks for coming on, Baltimore.
Talking to you. Enjoyed it.
Thank you. Nikki, have a good day.
Or she's probably muted or something.
Oops, bye. Too late. I forgot I was muted.
But yeah, I think, likely another bear was what was maybe over there, but
Could be a possibility.
I was trying to see it, but I just couldn't.
Yeah, that creek. You were in the northern area because I know that area. I've been in there one time with Fred and a couple times by myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one reason that I like watching Bigfoot stuff, videos and things, is because I can sit here and just look at the forest and the forest floor and the sky and the mountains. Anyway, I mean, I'm enjoying what we're looking at now. So, and I like hidden pictures or whatever, the hidden objects too. So I don't mind looking and scanning, and it's enjoyable trying to pick out the Bigfoot in the picture, the alleged Bigfoot in the picture.
Right. Yeah, 'cause you never know. If
Without somebody
hiding
around it. Exactly.
Sorry for the dogs. I don't know.
Oh no, that's all right.
They always do this to me during my podcast too.
They do it to most Bigfoot hunters or whatever because they like their dogs and the dogs love them and the dogs like to walk. And that's all right. Y'all know that Barb Shoot lost her Gabby.
Oh no, I wasn't. Yeah, I'm unaware of that.
You know, her dog Gabby, Barb and Gabby. Gabby died about a week and a half or 2 weeks ago.
That's too bad.
Yeah, because you know how she loved Gabby, and Gabby was such a character. But she got a puppy about a couple of 3 months ago, or maybe 6, a little while back. So she's got a puppy.
Oh, that's good.
Already, you know.
Nikki,
I
what were you
stopped
saying?
watching. I was gonna say I stopped watching Barb and Gabby a long time ago.
Oh.
I used to watch them all the time though, but she got too woo for me and her friend and everything. I lost interest.
I agree. Her friend, I still keep because I can't wait to see what kind of farcical crap she's going to come up with.
Drop a comment and let me know what you think.
Very cool, man. Very cool.
Fred did mention that for Bob, since he's in Alabama, if you know Bama Bigfoot, that's Paul Halsey. He used to Bigfoot out there in Alabama. I don't know if he's still squatching though.
I don't know if he is or not. I see his posts once in a while still.
Right.
I mean,
but they
I'm
never
friends with it, but I don't know if he's squatching.
And it was Bama.
Bama Bigfoot.
Yeah, I want to say
it's
I have
Paul,
seen
Paul Halsey, and he was a really great Bigfooter out there and real popular and did a lot of videos and stuff. But I really haven't seen any lately, or maybe my feeds aren't coming through or something. But
I agree. Like I said, I get a post with. He's had a couple of new grandbabies, I think, lately.
Yeah, he's gotten real into his job, into his family, and everything.
And, so he may just be taking a break for a while, because I do see a post once in a while, and I try to like it or whatever, just to say, hey, I see you, or good to see you, or whatever. But no, he's not done anything on Bigfoot in a while. I hadn't even put that together.
But says he still does it, but on the low key now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know Jonathan Odom, and I've talked to the what's Frosted Forest Sasquatch
yeah.
guy,
Yeah.
and then there's I think it was the Alabama Bigfoot Society, that guy.
Yeah, I'm not sure what group he may be in. That group, I don't know if that's he. Paul has a group. I don't know if he still keeps it active. His Facebook group was something to do with disabled squatchers or something like that.
Nice.
I can't remember.
Yeah, he had started something a long time ago. It was called just something to do with disabled squatchers or something like
I
that.
have not seen or heard from that in a long time.
Yeah,
But
so,
I do think he's doing good and he's happy and you know, that's what matters. But
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that. Yeah, I had the privilege of meeting Paul Hulsley. Was it not the year before last at the Ohio Bigfoot conference, and to meet him in person, which was very awesome. Yeah, because he actually kind of surprised me. He came up behind me. He recognized me first. I was hanging around with a couple people, and it was pretty cool.
Nice.
So
Cool.
yeah,
Yep. We have quickly. We
yeah.
have a local celebrity from this area that had a big country hit in the 70s. And he had a few more slight hits, but anyway, he drizzled out and went away. But he still plays at all the community things and the festivals and whatever. And I know him. I know him well. Our children have played together, and I never recognize him. And every 3 times a year, I run into him, and he says, "Leo, how you doing?" and hugs my neck. And it takes me a minute to think, "Who is this?" Oh yeah. And I just thought it was funny that the one celebrity, and I don't ever recognize him, but he recognizes me.
Yeah.
You get the anyway. He came up and tapped you on the back. That reminded me of that. Sorry, I got off course there. I'll try not to do it anymore.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. You're just like me, Leo. Because sometimes we can get into talking about something, and then we can switch to something totally different. I'm very random on discussions, though. But
Well, I am too, and we used to do that too a lot. Get way off the subject.
it's easy to do. It is because
Yep.
with what we talk about, there might be one little thing in what we're talking about that might lead to something else, and then it might bring us back later. So it's kind of, I don't know. I've always found that that's usually the way it works.
If we
Especially,
don't get back to it tonight, we'll get back to it next week or the week after.
yeah, exactly. So so. But I tell you what, it is getting a little late. I got a long day tomorrow because tomorrow starts my second job. So I got my daytime job to do in the morning, and then as soon as I get done there, I got to go to my second job. So it's going to be a long day.
Good luck. Drink Red Bull.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes because I got to come up with some money somehow, to pay the bills, but it's not easy.
I know. I need a water pump since the hurricane.
Yeah.
But you got to pay all the regular stuff too. So I'm trying to save a little here and there, all I can, to buy a new water pump.
Oh yeah.
But we get through. We always do. God's with us.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know when the next show will be because we'll have to see how things play out. I don't know what my schedule is going to be like for the evenings, because I'll be working evenings. So. Oh, and then I do want to make sure anybody out there listening, October 6th is it's a Bigfoot seminar. It's from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. right here in Virginia, Waynesboro, Virginia, at the Waynesboro Public Library. I'll be giving a presentation. There'll be a Q&A. So, and then weather permitting, we may be going out to do a little bit of Bigfooting afterwards, and it will be on the Coal Road. So we'll see how that works out. And you don't have to be from Virginia to participate. If you want to ride up, I've had people come down from Pennsylvania and Maryland before and North Carolina just to sit in on my seminar, my local seminars I hold once a year. which is awesome. I try to draw in a lot of the locals, anybody who has maybe experienced something or saw something to share their story. And I hopefully that I hope that fingers crossed that we may pick up some stories, and anybody willing to share any information with us, and we will definitely document it.
I've got a lot of stories from the Coal Road. Not
Sweet.
that I want to, but I do.
Right. And Fred Candy will be there too. So yeah, Fred Candy will. He's actually going to probably do some speaking. So I'm going to give off. I'm going to introduce myself, give everybody a rundown on what I do, and Fred will. Fred are to offer to help. So that'll be awesome. So.
And it's September what?
It's this Saturday, October 6th. So, yeah, October 6th.
September's over, isn't it?
Yeah, well, today's the last day. So.
October 6th.
Yeah, October 6th from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m.
I would love to go, but I doubt I can.
It's all good.
Get the money to get
I'd
up.
love to as well. I don't think.
Yeah, I know. That's a good ride for you. I mean, when you came up here from Alabama before, how long of a ride was that for you, Alex?
I think it was about 9.5 hours.
Oh, wow.
But I did see that mountain lion on the interstate. At least that's what I think it was, because it looked very like muscular and like, like a cat.
Was it here in Virginia?
Yeah, remember it was on what is the interstate there? 80 or 85?
81.
Yeah, it was off 81, and it was literally just standing. It was like walking up out on the side of the road, like still in the brush a little bit, but I could see it was like super muscular and kind of like a tan color.
Oh, that's awesome, because most of what the one I've seen was black, and there's been a few reports of them being black here in Virginia, and then I've heard a few that they say they were the brownish color, so that's awesome.
We saw a black one in Vermont, and then I've seen one here. I couldn't really tell what color it was. It was at night, and I was driving, and I'm pretty sure it was a mountain lion because it looked like a cat. I want to say it was black too, but it was hard to tell because it was so fast.
That was supposed to be what the Bladenboro beast was a big black panther, cougar, whatever you want to call it, big black cat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, I noticed on the live chat, Nikki made a note of something I want to throw out there. Every Wednesday, Shane Bradbury is the host of the YouTube channel. It's called Looking for Bigfoot. So if you have not subscribed, go to Looking for Bigfoot on YouTube. Shane Bradbury will host a show called Real or Not Real. He'll actually share various photos, videos, and the panel discusses them, shares their opinion about what they believe or what they think about it. So, and he goes live, I believe, at 8 p.m. Eastern time, right, Nikki?
I think so. Yes.
Easy. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because Layla, you're on that too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on it. I don't know if that's good advertisement or bad, but but yeah, I do a couple of shows with Shane. We do a political thing on. I think we start at 9, maybe it's 8, but you can get it from his other information. We do a political show on Friday night. I don't always go on, but sometimes I do. But yeah,
I know. I came on this last Friday and you weren't there.
I know. Anyway, won't go into that because it's getting late. But yeah, I missed last Friday.
Cool. And what time does he do the political one?
I think it's 9.
I think it's 9. It might be 8, but I think it's 9. I'd say though, if you, Nikki, don't you think if you go to the same site, it would give you a?
Yeah, he'll have. Well,
the
it's
same
called
site.
Alternative media. What is it? Oh my God! Now I can't think of it.
Media.
Alternative media. I can't think of the other part to it. But anyway, you'll catch it if you. I'm sure he's got links on his looking for Bigfoot. But it's
Henry
political.
May is it's political. Nothing
Yeah.
but politics there.
Yeah.
And we say what we feel. I do at least. So if anybody's easily offended, get your little tissue. Go in the corner and cry. Go ahead.
Okay, no, I was messaging somebody on Messenger, but well, guys, tell you what, let's call it a night. Alex, thank you so much for being on here.
Hey, thank you for having me on. I had a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Really enjoyed it.
Sweet.
Bob,
Well-
can I send you a friend request?
Yeah. Yeah, anyone can. My name on Facebook's Alex Bob. And
Alex Bob.
Sweet. Awesome.
Yeah.
And then if you, for the viewers, if you have not subscribed to Alex Bob, also his YouTube channel, Bigfoot Bob, do so. And if you have not subscribed on this YouTube channel, Bigfoot Zone, feel free to go ahead and do that. And feel free to share this around. This is just one of several live podcasts that we do throughout the week and throughout the month. So browse through my videos. You'll see field videos. You'll see other live chats that we've done in the past. So feel free to check them out, share them. And always love people's inputs. And make sure you give us a thumbs up, like on the videos. So and we appreciate everything that you guys do. Because when you guys share our videos and information, it helps spread awareness. So I'm sure Bob, Alex, I'm sure he appreciates it. I know I do. So,
Definitely.
you guys have a great night, and thank you guys again. Everybody on the live chat, you guys are awesome. So keep it
Night,
squatchy.
everybody. God bless.
Absolutely, and don't forget to subscribe to Blimp. I know he's still sitting here on the side.
Oh,
Southern Illinois Monster Hunters on YouTube. Check that out, and be sure to subscribe to that as well. And Zach, can you give us a rundown when your show's coming back? If he's still there. If Shoney's there. Zach, are you awake?
Come in, Zach.
Okay, he's passed out or Bigfoot kidnapped him. All right, guys. You guys have a good night.
All right.